Microgame is your gateway into game development. We created this 3D LEGO world that allows you to create your own web-based game using LEGO Behaviour Bricks. We'll touch on what these are and what you can do with them later on. In this video, I'm going to show you where you can get Unity, which is one of the world's leading real-time 3D engines, and all the basic steps to help you get started with your own version of our LEGO Microgame. Getting Unity. First, you need to download and install Unity. Click on the link in the description box below that will lead you to our download page. We want to follow the guided learning path, so we click on Get Started to start the download. Once the download is complete, you can install the Unity Hub like any other program. In the Unity Hub, you need to install Unity version 2019.4, which you can do by clicking on Install. The Hub will now continue the download and installation process in the background while you create your Unity ID. Now you can select between all of our different microgames. In our case, I'm going to select the LEGO Microgame and click on Continue. Once Unity is successfully installed, a launch button will appear in the Unity Hub.
Hello, friends and folks, and welcome to your first Game Jam. And today, we're going to show you how to make a game that you can enter into the LEGO Ideas Contest. And that's happening right now. So it's going to be very exciting and a jam-packed, pun intended, 2.5 hours. And if you haven't downloaded Unity or the LEGO Microgame yet, definitely do so right now. The link is in the chat, in the description box. And don't worry if you didn't. This session is recorded and it's going to be available on demand. So you can rewatch and share with your friends, which I'm sure you will all do. Share as many people as possible so they can get a chance to win the amazing prizes from the LEGO Ideas Contest, which I'll talk about later. So today's programming is designed especially for beginners. You can expect to start and finish your very own game by the end of this session. If you're already a few steps ahead of us and then good for you, first of all. But you're probably looking to add a little spice to your game. Luckily, we have you covered. And in celebration of the Lunar New Year, we just released the Year of the Ox Lego Asset Pack for free in the Asset Store. Also link in the chat. So to all those very lucky and prosperous oxen like me, chúc mừng năm mới, which means Happy New Year in Vietnamese. Now, it's time to introduce our host and guest. I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, Ashley, who works with me at Unity, who will let us know what she's going to do, what's her background, and maybe you can let chat know what is your Chinese zodiac as well.
All right, I'll do that. Hi, everybody. Hello, welcome to the Jam Stream. We're so excited to dive into the LEGO Microgame for our stream today. And again, my name is Ashley Alicia, and I'm a senior developer advocate for games at Unity. And basically what that means is that I spend a lot of my time making demos, tutorials, and resources to help Unity creators, just like all of you, bring your game ideas to life. So that's what we're going to do today. Today, I'm going to show you my example of what I would submit to the LEGO Ideas Contest if I could. I'm making a dungeon crawler game using the LEGO Microgame as a base. So I'm going to show you how to start with the default playground scene and then build up from there to create your own custom game experience and show you all the different ways you can use the LEGO Behaviour Bricks, the different kinds of props and decorations that you can use, and lots more. So that's my quick recap. And then before we begin, I'll also walk you through an actual view of the demo that we're going to create today.
Sweet. Thank you. Wait, what animal are you?
Oh, and yes, of course, I'm a horse.
Nice.
That's my animal.
Nice. And you just heard it from the horse's mouth. So I'm so bad, guys. Next up, we can't have a game jam without a special guest, who's Rasmuth, who's looking like he didn't know what he signed up for before he came on to one of our game jams. Why don't you let us know what you do at LEGO and what animal you are from the Chinese zodiac?
Okay, so I am a senior product lead at LEGO Games, and I've been working on this LEGO Microgame for quite a while now with Unity, and it's been awesome. And I'm super excited about sitting here today and making a game. I'm going to be making a different game than Ashley. Mine will be a game of the genre. We couldn't quite figure out the genre. I think it will be a sadistic space shooter, SSG, the SSG genre, let's call it that. So I'll also show an example of that. So I'll sit and jam with Ashley and make my own game. And I'm super excited about seeing what you guys will make and what will be submitted for the LEGO Ideas competition that we'll be talking about. And in terms of the animal, I'm a goat.
Nice.
Not the goat, unfortunately, not the greatest of all time, just a goat. So that's it.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much. So with that, Ashley, why don't you explain what we're going to be doing today?
Absolutely. So I'm going to go over and jump into the Unity editor. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the LEGO Microgame. So if you haven't installed Unity or the LEGO Microgame yet, be sure to do that. I know we just posted the links in the chat earlier, but we're going to go ahead and create this kind of dungeon crawler-ish base game. I have a couple of different gameplay elements here. It's a bit of a hodgepodge so y'all can get an idea of how it works. But we have this wizard here that is going to send us on a quest. He wants to get his treasure back. So we're going to need to get some crystals to buy it back from the shopkeep. So we need to collect some crystals to buy this wizard's treasure back. And to do so, we're going to have to avoid some evil robots. We're going to have to solve some puzzles. And let's see. I was able to get the first room and I got the first crystal. So that's going to be the first part. We're going to show how to create this room with these robots that follow you and try to attack. And then we'll go over to this second room, which just unlocked. And it's time to dodge some cannonballs. So let's see how this goes. I'm very terrible at my own games, so oh no, it got me. but that's you want that. You want to create a challenging game. So we're going to show you how to do the game over screen and how to let the player try again. And we'll show you how to create a shop where you can use your, let's say, crystals and buy things. So if I go over to the final room here, where our special oxen shopkeep is, we can see the treasure there is available and up for grabs. We just don't have enough to buy it yet. So let's go on an adventure today with this demo and see if we can do that. That's the game.
Nice. I think the chat is already quite impressed. Nico Pardo says, wow, very impressive. Nice. So for those who don't know, please share your screenshot. We have a hashtag LEGO Game Jam. Use it, tag Unity on Instagram or Twitter. We'd love to see what you're doing or that you're joining or that you're learning. Take a picture. Are you there with your family? Are you spending Valentine's Day with your significant other? Like, let us know what you're doing while you're watching the Game Jam.
Absolutely. And like, please share us your screenshots and videos, because that's the best part, I think, of doing these streams and these jams. I love seeing all the brilliant experiences that people create. I'm going to geek out about it forever, but I want to see what y'all are working on. So please show us.
Awesome. So let's get started.
All right, let's do this. So I'm going to go to my scenes folder here to begin. And while that loads, I wanna start with something. So if you haven't used the LEGO Microgame yet, or you're opening it for the first time, I want to make sure that y'all get access to some of the brand new behavior bricks that are available in the LEGO Microgame. And these include the speech bubble brick and the counter bricks. Now, in order to get them, you need to go to the Unity Hub. So I'm going to open that real quick.
Cool. While you want to do that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I forgot to ask what Rasmus is making. We we didn't tease what other game we're going to be making at the same time.
Hold up. We got to see what Rasmus is doing then, because
agree.
I think that'd be cool. And then I could show y'all how to get started.
Cool. Okay. So Ashley, she told me that she was making a game where you control a minifig. So I figured, why don't I try to make something different? So we have this control brick that allows you to make, a lot of different things you can control, hovercrafts, aircrafts, whatever. So I have done this space shooter where you get a quest again from a wizard. It's a space wizard. So he has a problem, like some alien stole his 3 drones. So you need to rescue them and then you get loot. So and this is where the sadistic part comes in, because you can see these aliens, they have fortified themselves with these space mines that are everywhere. And there's an alien up there. It's an alien giraffe, a space giraffe. And it will actually shoot at me. So I have to avoid the mines, and I can actually shoot the giraffe. As you can see, I just killed him. So the game is basically me trying to avoid the space mines and then rescuing the cute little drones, and they will actually follow me back to base. So I have to free 3 drones, but it's not that easy with these guys, these giraffes and all the space mines and stuff. I actually haven't tried finishing the game yet because I got killed all the time. so I think it's challenging enough, but let's just see if I can finish it now.
By the way, guys, it's a tradition in our game jams. For some reason, all of our guests and our hosts try to make the Dark Souls of games every single time.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I was just thinking, okay, Dark Souls space version. Let's go.
And as a wizard too. So
it is actually, I managed now. I think I found a way to sort of make it easier. So now they're actually following me. They're a little bit slow, these drones. So now he will say, thank you. Check the loot behind me. And then the cage behind opens and I get the crystal and I won the game. So that's what I'll be making today.
So folks, you have it there. 2 wildly different games based off of the same LEGO Microgame. And that's what I love about this, using this Microgame tool. It's lets you be super creative and out there with the different games that you want to create. And so you'll see through these 2 examples that you can kind of create whatever you'd like. So let's go ahead and dive in. So if you are starting a new project with the LEGO Microgame template, be sure to go to the Unity Hub and go to New, but click on the little triangle and select the LTS version of Unity 2019.4. Basically, this is the most stable release of Unity 2019, like the most recent release. And if you click on that, it'll open a new project window. And it'll give you an option of templates that you can use for your project. And you'd want to select the LEGO Microgame project. So you'll select that and then add in your project name, hit create. and you'll get a basic scene here, like that should open up, that either looks like this or another tutorial in the LEGO Microgame. What I'm doing to start off my LEGO Microgame is I opened up the playground scene in my scenes folder in the project view. Now, I know we have a lot of beginners here as well in the who are watching, and I want to make sure that I overview some of the basic concepts of what it's like to use Unity. If you've never seen it before, you may look at it and go, I'm not sure what to do. The number one thing I can recommend for that is if you do if you follow the LEGO Microgames tutorials, so like the LEGO tutorial scene, it'll actually walk you through and it'll show you exactly where to click and navigate to create your LEGO Microgame. So if you're watching this and you're having questions, or if you're having trouble keeping up, know that you could do that. You can also watch the recording later, and we'll try to go over as much of the basics as we can. But in a nutshell, there's a couple of main window views that I have here in my Unity editor that I'll explain. The first is the hierarchy. So the hierarchy tab here is where I have all of the different, like a list of all the game objects that are currently in my scene. Now, here I have my scene view, and if I'm scrolling and looking around, we can see that this is where we have all of the objects that are currently placed in our hierarchy. Now, if I click on one of the objects, like Pizza Boy, maybe some of you know his real name, we can scroll down to the inspector and see information about this selected game object. So a lot of times when we're going to want to move or edit a game object, we'll click on it and edit it in the inspector. And lastly, we'll be able to build up our game using the LEGO assets available in the project folder. So we'll have these folders of LEGO models here. We have minifigs, and we have the Behaviour Bricks, which will bring all the magic that you need to your game. Now, I saw a couple of folks in the chat asking, what are the constraints for this jam? As in, does it have to be with this LEGO Microgame? What else can you use in addition to it? I just want to start off, you for this contest, you are required to use the LEGO Microgame, but to my understanding, you can get, pretty creative with it and kind of add the different elements. But just keep in mind that any of the LEGO assets that come with the template, you kind of have to use them in their default state. So be careful about changing things like the scale of the LEGO bricks and such, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm starting out in the playground scene, and I want to take it from this kind of just basic environment over to this the kind of dungeon that I wanted to create, the dungeon crawler, I'll call it. If you open the playground scene, it'll probably look like this. I got ahead of myself and already threw some color in my scene. But let's go ahead and just start working on the actual level, right? So in this dungeon crawler game, I'm going to make 4 rooms. And there's different ways that you could approach creating them. There's like, for example, there are, if I go into these scene folders here, these model folders here, there's different bricks that I could use, and I could build out actual structures with the bricks if I want, but I'm actually going to use some of Unity's default basic 3D primitive tools to create the base for our environment. Now, I don't need all of these different LEGO pieces that are here in the scene, so I'm going to click on them, and I'm just going to start, let's see, deleting. Actually, maybe I'm going to see if I hide my whole environment. Nah, I want those bricks. I want the floor. So I'm going to delete everything that's not that cube. And then we have the LEGO pieces, the LEGO models. So I'm going to select the LEGO models in my hierarchy, which is a group of all the different bricks here in the scene. I'm going to press delete on my keyboard, and now those are out. And now I have a nice, clean base template to work with. So I'm going to press Alt and my left mouse button to kind of do a bird's eye view here so I can better see what I'm doing. I'm going to zoom out with my scroll on my mouse. And what I want to do is I want to take this cube and I want to turn it into rooms. So I'm going to copy. Let's see, what's the easiest way to do this? I'll show you the scale tool. So if you go here to the top and see like this box with an arrow in it, that is your scale tool that will be really useful for changing the size of the cubes and items that you're working with. So I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to select the cube here. And if you want to make your own shape, you could right click within your hierarchy or go to Assets, Create, and select which, or rather go to this plus sign here in the hierarchy and go to 3D object, and you can make a cube, you can make a sphere, a cylinder, depending on the different kind of shapes that you need. You can just grab it from right here. Now, I'm going to copy the cube that's already in the playground scene because it has this really cool Lego grid shader on it that I want to keep using. So I'm going to.
Can I ask you a real quick question that I think comes up really often in the chat when we have these game jams? People often lose, quote unquote, their inspector whenever they start up. Can you show them how to bring it back up if they like lose it essentially?
Absolutely. So if you've ever lost your inspector, and I'll do it in this case, I'm going to close mine. Where'd it go? It's gone. If you go to Window and you go to General, and this doesn't just apply just to the inspector. If you accidentally close any tab within the editor, you could find the majority of the ones that you'll be working with for the microgame here. The scene view, the game view, the inspector. So I'll click on that. It opened in my second monitor here, so I'll bring it back. And there we have the inspector. I can click and drag it and place it elsewhere in the scene. I'll put it here so we can see more of it. And by the way, and then lastly, the other two windows that you should know about. So the scene view window here is where we're kind of assembling all the different pieces for our LEGO microgame. The game view is where you can actually test and play your game live in the editor while you're building. So we're going to be going into play mode a lot to test all the changes that we make.
Cool.
So,
thank you so much.
No problem. So next step here is I'm basically taking that cube that we had. I made a copy of it, and I'm doing a quick level block out. Like, this isn't necessarily how I would do it for a like final game, but just to quickly get like that scale and such determined, I have like this long rectangular shape now in the middle of my floor that I'm going to use for hallways. And then I'm simply just going to copy this cube a few more times and go to my move tool here at the top left, and then use the arrows to move them here towards the ends of these hallways. So I'll do another copy of the cube, and I'll bring that here. So I already have the 3 different floors for the first 3 rooms, and then I'm going to copy this hallway, Control V to paste it, and I'm going to use the rotate tool to rotate it. And you know what? To get a perfect rotation, I can actually go into the inspector and go to transform here and enter 90 degrees for the rotation. I have a perfectly straight hallway going in the opposite direction, and I'm going to make it a bit shorter because I only need it to go so far. I'll use the move tools again to move it in place. And there we go. So now I've created like the 3rd hallway, and I'm going to create the last room here. Control paste this cube, pull it out over here, and there we go. So now we have our floors and our hallways. The last thing we need to add are our walls so that our player doesn't run off the edges and fall into oblivion. So though that sounds like fun, maybe that's another game idea. We'll save it for later. But essentially what we're going to do here for the walls is do more of that copy pasting again. And it'll take me a minute, and we'll show what Rasmus is working on soon while I do this. But I'm going to narrow down we're using the scale tool, this cube that we have here. I'm going to scale it up so that becomes more of a wall. There we go. That's tall enough, I think. We don't want the player to jump over it, so it has to be pretty high. And then we'll align it with the floor here. and push it over. That's really tall. Walls don't need to be that tall. Let's see. I'm picky with my wall height. All right. So we're putting that down here, and there we have the first wall. So now because I have a hallway here, I want to make room for that hallway. So I'll go back to the scale tool and make this maybe around a smaller, like half the size, not even. Bring that to the side. And now I have space for the player to walk through to go to the hallway. And essentially at this point, what I'm going to do is just copy this wall and then paste it to create the other end here of the wall. And then I'm going to keep doing this to build out the rest of the rooms. So I'm going to turn this by 90 degrees. I use the inspector. Bring this wall back. Sorry, pepperoni. We'll get you out of there soon. And I'll widen the wall here. All of this is basic 3D modeling, kind of I'm doing what we're calling gray boxing, right? I'm kind of building out the base of the level so that we have like kind of the playable area to test our game designs. So there we go. I think that works for the width of the wall. And that's what I'm going to be doing. So as I work on this and keep adding more of the walls, let's go over to Rasmus and take a look at what he's working on. Because I think we have very interesting approaches to how we work on games, Rasmus, right? Like for me, whenever I'm jamming or thinking of a new game idea, I start with the world, the environment. I build that up, and I'm not even sure what the game idea is going to be until I build that. But you, Rasmus, start in a different way, right?
Yes. I'm kind of thinking a little bit about the mechanics first, and then I do the environment afterwards. I mean, there is no right or wrong, but my approach is more like, okay, I know I want to make a quest, so I try to set up the base mechanics for the quest so I can show what I did here. I set up this wizard character here now so that I can chat with him. So I haven't done any environment or world yet, but basically I've just put in the mechanics. His drones were taken by space giraffes, free them for loot. And then I've added this little I found this cute little drone over here. And I can actually already test the mechanics here. I can press E and then it will add 1 to the drones freed over here. And then I could go back and change and see that that the quest givers speak has been updating. But I just want to show something funny. So I made this little drone so that he follows me after I have freed him, and that has a funny effect. Look at this. So I can actually sort of stand on him, and then I just realized this. So maybe there's a game in this actually. It's pretty funny. I haven't tried this before. Look, he's just following me now. And anyway, so I freed him. Exactly. So he's freeing me now. I've freed him, and then essentially the talk from the speak from the quest giver updates. So that's kind of as far as I am right now. I can also show a little bit about how I would go about thinking what to control in the game. So right now you're controlling a minifig, and since we are already seeing Ashley do that, maybe I should try and control something else. So just as a little test, I'm just going to grab one of these bricks here and say, now I'm going to control this brick instead. And then if I go into my LEGO prefabs folder and my LEGO Behaviour Bricks, then we actually have a control brick. So I snap that on here. And you can see over here in my inspector view, there are a few different things. I can say, is it a hovercraft? Is it an aircraft? What is the input type? You can try out the different ones if you want to experiment with this. I saw an awesome submarine game made that was submitted to the LEGO Ideas competition. That was awesome. For this one, I'm just going to use strafe. And then you can say focus camera. And it already says is player. So actually, this is essentially the player now. So I'm just going to click on my pizza boy here in my hierarchy on pepperoni, and then I'm just going to disable him for now, so we don't have him running around. And let's see what happens now. So now I'm basically flying around instead.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I can tweak that, but it's super quick. And of course, you can see I could build anything that I could fly around. And you can build with the bricks inside here, or you can go into this tool here, which is called BrickLink Studio, which is cool if you like the models that are inside the LEGO Microgame, but you like to try out to have a lot more models. Then you can go inside BrickLink Studio, and on the LEGO Microgame tutorials page, there is a guide to how you do all this. And there is also a specific palette that you can download that actually you can put into BrickLink Studio, which means that you will only see the bricks that are supported by the microgame. It's not every Lego brick, but I think it's around just about 8,000 different Lego bricks in 58 different colors. So there's quite a lot of variety in here. So you can see in this case here, I can just search for shapes. I can search for different categories, and aircraft is right here. So I already found the bricks, so we're not spending time on that. But you can see I can just put the things together here and build a cute little spacecraft. And it's very, very easy to build in it. So this is a cool little model. And you can see I can press File and then Export As, and you have to export it as an LDRAW file. You can see all my other weird stuff here. I've already done that. So, and then inside Unity, you just press Lego Tools, Import Model. And in the basic folder, there's a pink elephant with a top hat, just in case you were interested. But if not, you go to the folder that you saved it in. And I'm just going to tick. And then you get this little menu here where you can, I just know I want the sort of center of the model to be the center, not the bottom. But you can see here, now I have my model in that I just built. And of course, I can keep building on it inside Unity if I want to. So
Awesome.
all I have to do now is to just put the control brick on. And then I have a flying spaceship rather than a flying Lego brick.
So for those who missed all that, we also threw a link in the chat. So exactly how to use the BrickLink Studio tool. And for those who didn't get that really quick, BrickLink Studio is another program that you can use to make your own Lego models. And then like Rasmus says, there's like literally thousands and thousands of other amazing models that people do. That's a great, if you want to just like browse BrickLink's gallery, you have great community models there. And again, in chat, we'll show you how to import it and use it.
I think that's the coolest part. And one thing I'm really excited to see for the Jam and how people use it, whether you're using what comes just with the LEGO Microgame or bringing in things from BrickLink Studio to really take your game to that next level. I think that's going to make a game even more unique and exciting to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that actually that answers one of the questions with Rasmus. Somebody asked, like, for the contest, are we allowed to use other Lego elements? Like, we don't actually have to only use things from the base microgame, which is why we showed BrickLink, right?
Basically, you can use any brick that is part of the palette. So basically, go to that tutorial on how to import Lego models. There's a link in the chat. And then you can choose between 8,000 different Lego bricks of 58 different colors. There's a lot. And I can tell you there are already some awesome games made and submitted to the Lego Ideas competition. One person, again, he made the submarine game. Another one made a space shooter game. I thought my game was awesome and super unique, and then this guy, he made this awesome space shooter game. Where
you got some competition.
Yeah, exactly. You can choose between different spaceships, and he built them in Studio, and it just looks awesome. So there's a lot you can do there. So have a lot of fun with it.
Nice. I don't know if you can show, or maybe Ashley can show, but I saw this appear a couple times in chat. Is like, can you set your own spawn point for your characters or your models?
Yeah, I think it depends on how you want to spawn your character, but you can place your Lego minifig, and I'll show you how to add one into your scene soon. Just place it wherever you like, and when you play the game, your character will spawn in that point. And there's different types of characters that you can spawn in that sense as well. So I'll do that briefly. I'm adding the last couple of hallways to my game here.
Awesome. Thank you. And Rasmus, so now you just added the behavior brick to the new model you just imported. So what does that mean when you add that behavior brick?
Well, basically, it means that this behavior brick will now affect this whole model, and now I control this whole model. So I don't know. You have not explained about triggers and actions yet, Ashley. Maybe I should talk a little bit about that, because that's basically the whole foundation for how the microgame works. So you can see here is a speech bubble brick. It's just called the speak action. So that's an action brick. And that basically performs an action on whatever model I put it on. You can see this one, there's some text here you can define. You can define whether it should talk or yell or think or whatever. And this action brick, it says, thanks, dude, I'll open the cage behind me for loot. Then over here, we have a nearby trigger. So there's an action brick, and it'll just fire immediately. So if I started the game now, it'll just say, thanks, dude, I'll open the cage, and so on. But then there are trigger bricks as well, and if I put them on top of an action brick or connect them to a model that has action bricks on it, then the trigger brick will define when all the action bricks fire. So in this case, this trigger brick will then, when I'm within a range of 10, it will look for player, and then it will trigger this brick here that is connected. So you can see here, let's see if it actually works. So right now I just ruined this character. So, but let's see. So right now this is okay. This is probably a bad example, but you can see, because this one, besides it actually having it's triggering the speak action here, but it is also saying I will only trigger if the drones freed. That's a variable I have defined down here. If drones freed are greater than 1 or greater than 0, which it isn't in this case. So we can just say equal to 0. So now basically this will trigger right away. And this one I'll just remove for now. And basically, now it says, thanks, dude. I'll open the cage behind me for loot. And it basically says that these two bricks are the model. But I could also take this guy, this wizard's head here, and just put it down on top here. And then the speech bubble will come from his head instead. Then it detects that as the model. So that's the whole idea. Is you can have, this is very simple. You just have a speak brick, and then you have a nearby trigger. So whenever the player is near, then the character will speak. But you can also have stuff like, an elevator that goes up and down. You can have, if you touch it, you can have things like you can see all the different behavior bricks. There are 21 here. You can also have when you pick up something, then something else happens, or you can have a rotate brick here that makes something rotate if you touch it or if you are close by it or on a timer. So basically the whole system is based around just actions and triggers, and that's what's super cool about this system. It's kind of designed to try to making games feel more like digital play or building with Lego bricks than something super complicated. So that's kind of the basis for the system.
All right, that's perfect, because now I think I'm ready to go ahead and add my first couple of Lego bricks, behavior bricks. So now here I am in my gray box level environment, and now I want to add some interactivity to it. We're going to make it look pretty towards the end of this, but now I want to get ready to test the gameplay. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in a minifig to work as our player. I'm going to, who should I bring in? The adventurer, the astronaut, the pirate dungeon? I'm kind of into it, but let's go with a classic adventurer, and I will place him here in the main room in the center. Now, the next thing I want to do is kind of like Rasmus has in his game and what he's been working on. I also want to use the Lego Wizard character, who is adorable and amazing, to give out the quest to the character. And I'm going to do that by going into my project window and searching within my Lego models. In there's a folder called characters. And in that characters folder, we have a couple of friends here like alien and giraffe and gnome, and we want wizard. So I'm going to drag the wizard in here to be in this main scene, this main room here. And then I'm going to change my camera. It looks like they're facing the wrong way. I'm going to set the rotation to 180 degrees. And there's his lovely face. Hello, wizard. Now we are going to add a speech bubble brick and a interact brick so that the player can actually go talk to the wizard when they press a key on their keyboard. So let's do this by going to the LEGO Behaviour Bricks folder in our project window. And here we can see all of the LEGO bricks and kind of behaviors that Rasmus was talking about. I'm going to take the speech brick and add it to my scene. But before I do that, before you do that as well, make sure that the LEGO tools are turned on. Here in your scene view in the top left, you should see a little window that says LEGO tools and a little magnet icon with LEGO pieces. Make sure that that's selected and on, like you'll have the bricks will connect and they'll have a color on them. And then when you are working with LEGO bricks, you can either operate with single brick selection or multi-brick selection. Now, if, for example, our wizard is made up of multiple bricks. So if I have multi-select enabled and I use my move tool, the W key, to move this character around, not only do I select the whole entire wizard, not just one of his individual blocks, but it also gives me custom tools to be able to rotate and move my wizard around. So I'm going to zoom out, and let's say you place your wizard or any of your LEGO pieces in somewhere where you did not want to place them. With the LEGO tools enabled and multi-select enabled, you can grab and click the object, and once you click on it, it'll follow your mouse until you click again and place it. So I'm going to bring it a bit closer to the player. And one of my favorite tips for working in Unity, especially if you're new to the environment, if you're trying to navigate around your scene and there's a lot of objects or things, you're not sure where to kind of navigate to, but for example, you want to focus on your wizard. You can go into your hierarchy and select the wizard or any other object, move your mouse back to hover over scene view and press the F key. And Unity will automatically zoom in and take you to exactly where that game object is. This will save you a lot of time as you're building up your game. So I'm back zoomed in on the wizard, and I'm going to, with the LEGO tools enabled now, drag in a speech brick. So I've dragged it in here, and I can actually snap these LEGO pieces to the wizard's hat. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to snap it here to the underside. You may have to kind of adjust your mouse to figure out where your piece is going to snap best to the LEGO structure that you're working with. But once you find it and click, you'll see, you almost feel it. I love this about the microgame. When you add a brick successfully to a interactable object, you'll feel that snap just like a real Lego, and it'll lock into place, and you'll be able to continue to add and modify behaviors from there. The next thing we want to add is an input trigger. So I'm going to select the input trigger brick, drag that into my scene, and then apply it to the wizard in the same way. Now the wizard has some very trendy LEGO brick earrings, and I'm going to select, now I want to change the behaviors for each of these specific bricks. So that means I go back to single brick selection tool, and I will select the speech brick, go down to the inspector, and if I scroll down, I'll see a speak action script that's on this brick that I can modify to have the exact speech and behaviors that I want the wizard to have. So I want the wizard to have 2 speech bubbles. The first one being, help me get my treasure back. You're on a mission. All right. Then I'm going to click the plus sign to add another speech bubble to his kind of speaking list. And then I'm going to say, you need crystals to buy it back from the box. The pause section here essentially says, for how many seconds do you want to pause between speech bubbles? And then the repeat option is, do you want the wizard to repeat saying this? And in this case, we want him to say it whenever the player asks. But the player, how does the player ask? How do you make sure that this doesn't just activate automatically? Because if we just added a speech brick and nothing else, the text would show immediately, and it's not based on the player's interaction. So with the input trigger, if we select that, now we can go to the input trigger script here and select our targets and how we're going to input. Now the target, we can either select a connected action or specific action. I like choosing the specific actions because I like to be very specific about what behaviors I want to happen in my game. So I'll set the size to 1. And the size is basically asking how many actions do you want to happen when you when this input is given. So the only action I want to happen is that the speech bubbles get activated. So I put 1, I select the action, and it opens up this little window here, and it shows me all of the current behavior bricks in my scene that I can interact with. And I want to interact with Wizard Speak. So I'm going to select that, and now I can select what key we need to press in order to speak to the wizard. So we're going to keep other keys selected so we can add our own key. And we're going to make it so that when you press the E key, the wizard will speak to you. We're going to enable this feature, like this functionality, when the player is nearby. But you could set this to be when specific bricks are nearby or specific tags. And then lastly, how far away, the distance that the player needs to be from the wizard in order to speak with them. I'm going to make it 10 or maybe 20, socially distant speaking. I think that could work at 15. So can't get too close. They're not wearing masks. So then I'm going to show the prompt, which will show the actual like key that you need to press to speak to the wizard above his head, and then repeat. So we're done. Now we're going to save. Also, number 1 pro tip, save all the time. Save your game always. You never know what could happen. Maybe you make some changes and you're not a fan of them. If you save often, you will avoid any problems in that regard. So I just saved my, I did a quick save right now, but basically you can go to save as, save your scene as a different name, and don't save it as the playground scene, because maybe you want to use the playground scene later, or maybe you want to use it again as a template for something else. So save it as a separate scene under a separate name. And then once we're saved, we're going to go take a look into play mode. But one thing, I'm looking at my game view right now, and I don't see anything. I just see a wall. I know my player's in here, but what's happening? We need to adjust the camera behavior here for this example, because the type of game, the type of template that the playground was using uses a camera system that we need a little bit of a different version of. The good thing that it's easy to make this change. And right now I have this 3rd-person camera available in my hierarchy. I'm going to deactivate it or delete it even. So I'm going to select 3rd-person free look, and I'm going to delete it. Now, what I need to add instead is by going to my prefabs folder here for the LEGO Microgame, I'll go to camera, and then I'll go to player virtual camera, which will give me another different kind of view, so to speak. Like, you know, when you're playing games, you have a 1st-person game, a 3rd-person game, a side-scroller game. That's all done with different camera work and different camera angles. So I've added a player virtual camera. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it know what to follow and what to look at. This is the main part that you need to know. This is using a Unity feature called Cinemachine, which takes care of a lot of the camera work that you need to do for you. But you need to tell Cinemachine what do you want it to look at and what do you want it to follow. And in this case, I want it to go follow my adventurer. So I've clicked and dragged the adventurer from my hierarchy over to the inspector. And now we see my camera view has updated because my camera now knows, that's what I need to look at. Okay, I got you. So now that our camera's ready, we may need to do a bit of tweaking to test, but I think I'm also going to scroll down to the camera's settings here and change the screen X and Y values. Maybe not X, maybe just Y. We can see a bit of the sky, bring some light in here. And we can see more of the wizard, because when the wizard is going to speak, its speech bubble is going to appear above its head. We don't want that to get cut off by the camera. Save, Go to play mode. All right, we're doing our first round of testing. Let's see if we can speak to the wizard. We have the floor here doing a bit of Z fighting, so I'll show you how to fix that in a bit. But I can go over to the wizard here and press E. And there we go. We see the speech bubbles. They're working. So, all right, wizard's going to send us on a mission. Got to get those crystals. Got to buy back that treasure. So that works. Time to move on to the next part of our game.
His speech audio is so cute. Adorable.
I love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these hallways that I've added, and I'm going to bring them down ever so slightly. Let's see. That's a lot of slightly. There we go. I brought them down just a bit so that we avoid that kind of like flickering effect that was happening a bit with the floor. I'm gonna, let's see. There we go. Now I'm going to, from there, then let's see, what's the next part that we should add? Should we do decorations first, Carol, and make it look pretty? Or should we add the next part, the robots, for challenge room number 1?
I'm all about pretty. I love decorating. That's my favorite kind of games.
Let's make it look pretty. And you know what? We have a bunch of things to help with this. And I also want to call out all of the great additional add-ons for the LEGO Microgame available in the Unity Asset Store.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to the Asset Store either through your web browser or through the Asset Store tab in your editor, you can search for LEGO and you can scroll down to see a bunch of different packs that you can add to your LEGO game here. So that, here we go. So we see stickers that you can add, moody skies. I just downloaded this so we can change the effect and make it a little bit more dungeon spooky.
Yes.
And then there's also, we've had Christmas packs. You can get music for your LEGO game to add. Like Danger Zone, like Obstacle Course pack. And then, of course, like Carol spoke about earlier, the Year of the Ox LEGO Microgame add-on. So I've also downloaded this pack because I want to use Lucky Ox of the Year to be our shopkeeper that we're going to buy the treasure from. So I've clicked and downloaded these into my project, and they're available over in this add-ons folder. You can see LEGO Moody Skies and LEGO Year of the Ox. What I'm going to do to make my game look a bit more nicer is I'm going to take one of the Moody Skies that I downloaded. So if I open the folder and go to Materials, I can go to Environment or Skyboxes. I'm going to give it a night sky effect. I think that will look pretty cool. So I'm going to click this night skybox. I'm going to change my camera view so I can see like the regular daytime skybox that I have in the background. I'm going to click and drag the night one over here into my background and let go. And now I have that moody night sky, as simple as that.
Nice.
And then I'll go to the environments folder because the kind of fog and stuff around the level is still really bright. I want it to be like a night fog. And so we have a night fog effect here. I can just click and drag that onto the kind of floor area. And now we have some nice purple fog below our level. And here we have our kind of nighttime environment. Now let's actually make our level look a little bit more like it's part of that nighttime environment. Just because you're gray boxing or making out test kind of environments, it doesn't mean that you can't make them pretty or relevant to your kind of game idea. It's actually pretty quick and easy to do so. So if I just select, I'm going to use my move tool here and select one of the cubes that we used. Now, all of these different walls and such that I've used use the same exact shader. And so if I make a change to that shader, it'll change the effect for all the different bricks that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
In the meantime, Tom Brick just brought it up in chat. It's like, will there be more add-ons in the future? Yes, there's so many add-ons. And actually, we would love to take your suggestions. Definitely join our Discord or throw it in chat. If you want to make suggestions to us, LEGO is actually really happy to take your suggestions and make add-ons for you in the future. And they've been working like LEGO has been really good partners with us at Unity so far to make like exactly what you want. So please make more suggestions. And actually on that note, maybe we should talk a little bit more about the contest before Ashley can like think about how she wants to decorate her room in the meantime. But for those who don't know, again, welcome to the stream. This is the LEGO Microgame Game Jam, especially so that you can participate in the LEGO Ideas Contest. So the contest is happening right now. Actually, it already opened up and it's going to end on March 15th. And the winner is going to be picked on April 8th. Actually, Rasmus is going to be one of the people that are be judging the contest. So no pressure on what you guys are going to do. But maybe we can talk about some of the awesome prizes, because that's really, really what everyone's looking forward to. First of all, for every person who submits a game to the contest, you will get a custom Unity minifig.
Look at that.
Just so you guys
With
know,
a little Unity shirt.
Yeah, even we don't get these yet. So you guys are really lucky. And we're not even allowed to submit to the contest. So
Me neither.
I'm very jealous.
very jealous.
It will also come with some extra assets. Like it will come in a little bag with extra hair and different faces and different gear so that you can customize it.
Yeah. So Unity, Mr. Unity, if you can throw the links into chat so that people can know how to enter the contest. But that's not all you get. So 2 top prizes, I think, is you'll also be getting the LEGO Mindstorm Robot Inventor. Such crazy prizes.
Ooh.
I think Rasmus has it on hand.
Of course I have it.
It's beautiful.
Actually, it's my winter holiday next week, and I'm going to spend the whole week with my son building robots with this set.
Nice.
And it's not just these 5 you can build. You can build anything. You can make some really advanced stuff with this.
Yeah.
So
So I actually don't know the Mindstorm collection or the robot invent. Like that one is like a much more advanced version of the Lego sets, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it has its own building system, and this one also comes with an app so that you can build and code and then play. So this one actually. One of my friends actually worked on this one together with my neighbor's dad, who has been at LEGO since '87, who is the sort of master builder, technique designer, and those 2 guys have been working on this set among others, and you can actually make a robot that will sense whatever is in the room, and then you can trigger it to shoot, or you can trigger it to walk, you can trigger it to talk, you can trigger a HUD where different lights happen, and you can program the whole thing using Scratch. You can also remote control it. So here you have a car that is remote controlled, and then you can add different functions on top of the car as well if you want to. So there's so much play in this. So I don't think a week would be enough for me and my son.
I love that. I actually never knew that LEGO did anything like that, so it's super exciting. Actually, the one that I'm the most excited for is the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Ooh, yes.
I'm so excited for this one. Please.
Oh, it's so big I can hardly show it.
It's beautiful.
It's so nice.
So it's a bit difficult to see, but this one you get a TV, and you get the NES and a controller and a game cartridge, and then there is a little crank on the side of the TV, a little handle that you can turn, and then it will actually play the Super Mario game running through it. It'll be sort of circulating on the screen, and the cool thing is that you will also be getting LEGO Super Mario here.
Nice.
And if you place Super Mario, I don't know how many people actually know this, but if you place Super Mario on top of the TV, there is a little place where you can place him. Then he will actually play all the sounds that are being made by the game. It's so awesome.
I didn't know that.
So it's super cool. I don't know how they did that, but it's super cool.
Whoever wins that, please Instagram and show all. I want to live vicariously through some of these winners.
Yeah, me too. And then you will also get one of the coolest sets for LEGO Mario, which is the Bowser's Castle boss battle, where you can basically play through, but you can also build your own levels out of it and play through it with your LEGO Mario. So it's super cool. You can use it to expand your starter course and just keep building levels. So some really, really cool LEGO sets.
Yeah, and on the Unity side, actually, we're giving out prizes too. So for the 2 top prize winners, you also get a 1-year Unity Pro subscription, which is insane.
Nice.
Yeah, and then you get all the LEGO Microgame premium asset bundle, and then you get $200 for Unity Asset Store voucher. So this is like it's a very nice starter pack if you want to start your game dev career.
Absolutely. Oh
Wow,
my
that's
goodness.
awesome.
If I was starting in game development with $200 worth of assets, like I'm
Yes,
very
you're
enthused
set.
about, and I would have been able to make. You're set. You're good. Oh
You
man,
would
I
be
can't wait to
Blizzard
do
now.
Yeah. Yeah, so in chat, the LEGO Ideas Contest is something that's been going on for a really long time. The history, I mean, for those who don't know, previously, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rasmus, but like you've been having these contests for a while. A lot of people will submit ideas for their sets, and a lot of them actually get made into real sets. And I think there are so many great popular ones. Are there any particular that you like? Or chat, throw into chat. I want to see how many LEGO sets that from the ideas contest that you guys bought or wish that you could have bought.
Can I type as well?
Yeah, tell us what were your favorite LEGO ideas sets?
Oh, I mean, there are so many cool ones. I mean, the one that probably had the biggest impact actually was probably, I don't know how many people know that, but the Lego Minecraft was actually from
Oh.
Lego Ideas originally, and that turned into a massive product line, right? But my personal favorite is the grand piano set, because that's basically a guy who is totally into grand pianos and Lego building, right? And so that is such a special combination that set would never have happened if it wasn't for Lego Ideas. I don't see anyone we have some awesome designers in in Lego, obviously, but I just don't think it's the kind of thing where you think maybe there's a market for building grand pianos out of Lego bricks.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's basically built it like you would have built a real grand piano, right? So you have each key that actually hits like a hammer, and the hammer hits a string.
Oh, so it actually played.
So his point was actually to say, this is going to be an awesome model, but it's also going to be like a learning thing for kids, so they can see how a piano actually works.
Yeah,
and then the
I
cool
love
thing
that.
was the Lego designer who then took it over. He then said, okay, but it actually has to play as well, because the original one didn't play. And then they added electronics in it that actually also allowed it to play. And and then they added little sheet music decorations on the Lego bricks, where the music was actually played in the trailer that the fan he had created for it. So that whole set is amazing, and my daughter, she plays the piano, so I'm gonna get her that set. I already bought it for her
Oh,
for her birthday.
nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so that's
I
my
love
personal
that.
favorite. Yeah.
Nice. Chat are saying like I've seen some great ones, like the Sesame Street one,
Oh yeah.
the Dinosaur Fossils one, the Lego Chronicles of Narnia one. That's great. I personally really love the Wall-E one, the DeLorean Back to the Future.
Oh
And
yes.
yeah, and the Friends one, which I was really surprised that they even made that.
Yeah, that one was sold out in like, I can't remember, but super fast. It was incredible.
Yeah, nice.
It was yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you for telling us a little bit about the LEGO Ideas Contest. Again, continue in chat, letting me know what were your favorite sets, what sets would you like to see in the future, or what sets you want to see come back. Right now, we'll get back to Ashley. What are you doing? Have you finished zenning your dungeon?
So now what I'm gonna do is, like, I was setting up some background elements and such, because I wanted to make sure that folks saw like these really quick and easy ways to like create like a moody effect for your game environment. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm selecting the directional light that's already in our scene, and I'm bringing the intensity really down to create more of that dark dungeon look. And then if I go to the I basically added over here on this wall a Lego piece, one of like just a regular triangle brick, but I'm secretly using it as a scone, a lighting scone, and I added a point light to it. So to create a point light, you can just right click in your inspector. I have it under this this kind of brick object here. I go to create light, point light, and then I have this cool light here. So that way it makes that kind of like glowing, almost like a torch effect for the dungeon. And then lastly, I'm going to select one of my cubes here to go to the custom grid shader that comes with this LEGO Microgame. And I'm going to change the color here through this color picker option in the inspector to a nice deep purple color. And now we have a wildly different look for our dungeon here. So I want it to match that like purpley night sky, give a little bit of a spooky feel. That's a good shade right there. And I was messing with the color picker here in my other window. And then now I'm going to copy my light that I created. Actually, I'm going to focus on it by pressing the F key. You can see the light. It looks a little bit dim. I want to make it brighter. So I'm going to select the point light that's inside of it. And I'm going to up its intensity. So there we go. Look a little bit like a flame here. I'm going to also expand its range. So there we go. That's looking like a nice little glow there that we can see. And then I'm just going to copy. I'm going to call this whole little group here scone light. And really what my brain is imagining is like the scone, like a snack. I'm into like snacks as lighting. So I'm going to
That's so funny.
this.
Every game jam, guys, because we're from all over the, like we're spread across like three different continents to make these streams happen for you guys, and it also means that we're always hungry constantly. Everyone is constantly wanting to snack and eat dinner or lunch or breakfast.
All the games will be about food.
Yes,
Pretty
every micro game thing I've worked on has included like food in some way, usually as the goal. My last one was pizza. Like, you know, your priority in the game was just getting some pizza, which is like the same as our priorities in life.
Yeah.
So I am going to then take these lights here and just, and for some of this, you know, like I'm moving things around right now, but they're not like actual like full Lego structures that I'm working with. So you can also turn off the Lego tools. And I did here, and now I get these move tools, so I could very easily move these scone lights to be on the opposite wall over here. So I'm focusing on these. I'm adding them to the wall. They don't have to be perfect whatsoever. You can just kind of eyeball it, so to speak. So I'm going to fix this rotation a bit. There we go. Connect those to the wall. Now we have those scones. And so I can then just pretty much copy all of these lights that I've made and put them in the different rooms. So Control C, Control V. And I'll put them over here in the robot room, classic robot room. Everyone should have one in their home. And then I'm going to do the same thing and add it to the other the other challenge room. I'll pop these over here. And that's the nice thing about doing this kind of like, you know, blocked out level layout is I can just quickly copy, move, and position things into different rooms and not have to tweak or change so many other things. So now I have the lights set up in my primary environment. I'll put some last ones here in the shopkeep room, but I will fiddle with these later. And now we're going to actually add our gameplay. So now we have this moody dungeon feel. And one thing I did while y'all were chatting was I already added our first enemy character to this game level. And I'm going to select it and focus on it. So I put it here in my hierarchy under characters. I highly recommend creating an empty game object. So you can do that by going to the plus sign or right clicking and go create empty. And then giving it a name like characters or lighting. So for example, all the lights I just created are under this empty lighting game object that I created. The same with the characters that I'm adding. I have the wizard and I have the golem. So focusing here on the golem, we have our little kind of golem robot friend. And I'm going to, let's turn him around so y'all can see what he looks like. There we go. So we have this golem that has a behavior brick already. It does look scared. Poor thing. It knows its fate. It's, you know, what a life that must be to be placed in a video game. And you know why you're there. You're not the hero. You're the one that has to be defeated. The poor thing, really. So we're going to take a look and see that it has a hazard brick already attached to it. What is a hazard brick? A hazard brick is a behavior that you can add to any LEGO Microgame game object. And it will essentially damage the player if the player touches it, which usually results in a game over. So for example, when you saw me play through my demo earlier and one of the cannonballs hit me, that's because it has a hazard behavior. and it hit me and I died. So if we touch the golems, we will die. So we need to be careful. And now, in order to make this more challenging, because we don't want the golem to just stand around, right? We want it to actually follow the player and look at the player and move in the player's direction. So to do this, we're going to go ahead and add we're going to have 4 bricks. The first I like to add is an alive brick. I love adding alive bricks to most things I create with the microgame because it quite literally brings your object to life. It gives it a little bit of animation and movement, just like the wizard and the little sounds that it was making that Carol was calling out earlier. By adding this, you add that bit of life and make it seem like a real moving, living character in your game. I'm going to click and drag an alive block up, but it kind of just placed itself because I didn't have my Lego tools turned on. So remember to turn on your Lego tools when working with the bricks. And now we'll drag the alive brick in, and now we can see it'll follow my mouse, and I could snap it over to the shoulder of our golem here. Move my camera a bit. There we go. Snap. Now our golem has an alive behavior. If I go to the inspector with that brick selected, it will show me the options for the alive action. I can have a little sound effect that it can make. I have the audio volume. I'm going to make that volume really low. And then I can select the type of kind of movement I want it to have. So it can have a very wiggly, organic movement as a creature, or it can have a pretty robotic dance kind of like looking thing as a robot. So I don't think golems are technically robots. I think they're technically made out of boulders, but I am going to just pretend that it's going to be a robot now. So
okay,
we've changed its destiny. Golem is now a robot. And now I'm going to add, in addition to this alive brick, I want to add a look at brick so that whenever the player is around the golem, it will turn and look at the player. So to do this, I will go select a look at brick. So I have that here.
I asked chat what we should name this enemy, and a chat slightly recommended Legolem.
Legoland.
I love it.
Perfect.
It's so dumb. Oh, sorry. It's funny.
That's the best. It's the best.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
And that's what, let's make this game like the goofiest we can possibly make it, because in my opinion, those are always the most fun to play. I added this look at brick to our Lego lamb here, and I am going to make sure that the eyeball on the Lego brick is facing the same direction as the golem's eyeballs, because that look at is going to determine kind of where that golem is facing. So it has to be in the right direction. Now, once that's set, I can go into the inspector again and look at its settings to see, what do you want the golem to look at? Okay, we want to look at the player. That's set. The speed, how quickly do we want it to rotate towards the player character? We want it to be pretty fast. We want it to be constantly looking at the player. So we'll keep that speed at 180. We're going to set the rotation to be horizontal because we want it to rotate horizontally and not vertically, so it's not doing somersaults or backflips, which, now that I think about it, sounds really cool. And I'm going to do that for my next game. So that's actually, if someone does that, let me know. I want to see how it works out.
Yeah.
But now we have the time, like how many seconds it takes to complete each movement to look at the player, how often it should pause before, each movement. Lots of different ways that you can customize it. We'll leave the defaults as it is right now. And then we're going to add our next behavior brick to our golem here, and that is to move. We want it to move towards the player when the player is in its vicinity. So I'm going to select the move brick, and I'm going to move that and place it on top of the look at brick here. So I'm going to click and snap it on. There we go.
So a couple people have been asking in chat, and since you were both doing that, I noticed on both of your screens, which is like adding a bunch of behaviors to the same character. So can you hide them, or if you keep stacking them, like what happens?
So one interesting thing that you can do is, instead of adding the bricks onto the actual Lego, let's say the golem that we have here, I like to add the bricks when I'm starting out and I'm learning because it helps remind me what's on the object and what behaviors it has. But you can also add all of like this move action script, for example. If I deactivate it and I go select our golem character here, I can see that, I mean, it has the move action here in its model script, but I can select the main model and go to add component, and I can add move action. And then you could actually take that script and apply it directly to the object without having to apply a brick to it. And this is actually what we did with the cannonball that I'll show you later. That cannonball doesn't have another hazard brick attached to it, but it has the hazard script on the little cannonball Lego piece. So that way it stays small without any kind of add-ons to it, but it has that same behavior that it can apply like the behavior bricks. So hopefully that helps with the question.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There was one more question about rotating behaviors. I can show that, or you can show that, Ashley, but we do have gizmos that allows you to actually see, for instance, the look at brick. If you apply that without the look at brick, but just apply the look at behavior through a script, then you still need to be able to rotate it to make sure it faces the right way. The same for movement and stuff. I can show that if you want, or you can show that if you know how.
Yeah, I have it actually right here. I was just turning my move brick because of the same, like that exact reason. I have this move brick and it started out kind of placed this way. Now you have to keep in mind when working with these Lego behavior bricks that they will face or move in general the direction that the icon on the brick is facing. So in this case, I have the icon on my brick that shows the arrow pointing to the right. But then that means that my golem is going to start doing a sideways shuffle whenever the player comes in, which also sounds really cute and fun. And they could like kind of like be doing like a disco hustle thing. I'm already going on a tangent for my next game idea. But but if I make sure to use these gizmos to turn my brick, and to get these gizmos, when you have a brick selected, be sure to select the move tool here at the top left or press the W key on your keyboard. Now I can rotate the brick, and I see that the arrow is now facing outwards so that the golem can walk forward towards the player. So this is what's going to keep this golem moving in a straight forward line. So that's what I want to do with the move brick, and I was only able to do that by using those gizmos to rotate it. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to set these options here for the move action brick. And I'm going to, how far do we want it to move every second? I'll say like maybe 10 units every 2 seconds. It'll pause every 1 second. Maybe this will be too fast, maybe too scary. We'll see. I once kind of, when I was testing this out, I added this move behavior and I started the game and the golem immediately ran up in front of my face and startled me very much. So I don't want that to happen again. So we're going to see how this works. The last thing I do want to add, though, is a explode brick, but I don't want to add it just yet because I want to test our golem, and we need a trigger to activate the explode brick. If we don't add a trigger when we add the explode brick, it'll just explode when we start the game. And we want to give golem a chance, right? We don't want him just to be defeated like the poor thing.
But
Let's give him a shot. It looks cool, but we got to give him a shot. So I'm going to press play.
Gotta teach those golems right from the start.
Yes. All right. Oh, if you could see, all right, he's already hustling over to the player.
Oh my god, his sounds.
There he goes.
They're so funny.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, so it's following me. There it goes. All right, I gotta avoid it.
That
Golem
is so
working
creepy.
just fine. It is. Okay. It almost got me. So I am going to. I love the chat. My life is to die. Poorly made golem. Please quote that. Please put that on the cover, the box of this my Lego Microgame. Thank you, with the little kind of like a word leaves. That'll look perfect.
This golem is getting starting to get like a crazy backstory. Like the next time we have a game jam, somebody's gonna come back with like entire like fiction written about it. Please
tell me the origin story of Golem. We need an origin story.
Yeah, tag Ashley. Tag Ashley on Twitter for that.
So we have the Golem. Now I want there to be more than one Golem. Let's make this a little bit more challenging. I'm going to add maybe 2, 3. I don't want to get too Dark Souls about it, right? I don't want this to be too challenging, but I
Could
like
you make
difficult
one with red
games.
eyes, Ashley? That would be awesome.
Can I make one with red eyes? Can I do that? Let's see. I'm going to move the second golem here. I'm going to rotate it using the inspector. Put it at 90 degrees. I want them to face different directions. Maybe 0. So so they're both facing this way. I'm going to move it a bit. And I want to keep in mind, right? I want to give the player a chance to be able to run into this room without getting immediately overrun by the golems. Because I don't know, based on all the kind of the hype they're getting now, I think they're developing a sense of purpose. And then you have to be careful with that. So they're definitely out to get the player. I'm going to put them both here off to the sides. Oh, I accidentally took its hat, I think, or its eyes. If this ever happens to you, if you click on a Lego brick and it's moving and you did not intend to do that, just press the escape key and it'll go back to where it was supposed to go. So now I can look around. Now the next thing I want to add is I want, for when we defeat these golems, for some crystals to appear in the room. But there is kind of like, I want to show you the way that you can do this with the Lego behaviors. I could make them spawn, these crystals spawn via a script that I can add to Unity, like I can make my own custom C# script. But I'm going to get a little bit creative with the Lego bricks here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a couple of things here to both defeat the golems and create our crystal drop down. Now, Rasmus's scene is looking really cool right now, and I'm really curious to see how his game is going. Why don't we go take a look at his awesome environment?
Yeah.
And while I set up these beginning elements of the golem room.
Sure. So I'm just experimenting with an enemy, and maybe I should just show what we have now. I can't shoot the enemy yet, but I think he can shoot me now. It's the evil space giraffe. Let's see. Oh yeah, he's
Those space giraffes.
Okay, yeah, he could.
Oh,
wow.
Okay, that was a little bit
there.
difficult. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about these behavior bricks because there are a lot of questions about it in the chat. So look at this guy, this giraffe. I mean, he's evil. I gave him red eyes because somebody was talking about Dark Souls, right? So he's elite. He will basically kill us in one go. And so these are all his behaviors. He has all that stuff going on here. And then this is the way my captured drone looks. It actually has the same amount of behaviors, but I just put them on as scripts instead. So how did I do that? Ashley was talking a little bit about it. You can basically add them as script components, as Ashley was doing. You can also go in under Lego and scripts and behavior bricks, and then you can see all of them in here. We even made them look like bricks to make it feel a little bit simpler to add them. And you would basically just drag and drop them up to this character. But then the problem is I can't see them. That's why you can turn on gizmos. So you can see now I get these weird boxes that I can click, and those will actually tell me what behavior bricks are on the model. So over here I have a clean version of the drone that only has the look at brick that you can see here. And because there is a look at brick, we get the look at gizmo up here that tells us what direction it's looking. So if you look here, if I select the look at brick and I turn it, then you can see the dotted line goes this way instead. So now it's looking to the left of the drone, and that's how I can actually control scripts that I just add on. So for instance, if I want to add a move action to this drone without actually adding a whole brick, I would just take this move action and put it over here. Now you can see there's a move action. When I click it, I can see, okay, it's actually moving that direction. It's moving backwards. I don't want that. So I can fix that, but it's reliant on the brick the script is put on. So if I want it to actually move forwards instead, I have to rotate this brick, and it just happens that brick fits here. So you have to fiddle a little bit with it because the orientation of some of the behaviors is important, like the look at brick and the movement brick and stuff. One trick you can actually do is if you have actually a brick like the space giraffe's eye here, that brick doesn't actually matter what orientation it has. So if you have some crazy behavior, you can always just put the behavior on this brick, because it will always fit, right? You can always, I can put a shoot action on this brick here, and if I click the shoot action, you can see it shoots that way. But if it had been turning that way, oops, I think it was the wrong brick I put it on. Anyway, I could have put it on this brick right here if I had hit that. And then you can always rotate that brick, and it doesn't matter whether it's rotating one way or the other. So that's actually how you can have a lot of different behaviors on one small model, like the one I have over here, without it looking bad in any way. So I think that's a really useful trick when you sit and make fun Lego models where you don't want the aesthetics to be hurt by all the behavior bricks, particularly small models, right? The giraffe over here we're okay with because he's evil anyway. So so that's fine that he looks like he looks.
I think he's transformed into a space camel at this point.
Yes, that's a yeah, pretty much space camel. Maybe it should be called that instead. So I have a slightly
have a spin-off game. I just want to say Lego Lemon Space Camel, the sequel. it's already writing itself. I'm excited.
Exactly. So my game is a little bit easier with the level design right now because I don't have to do hallways and stuff, but you still have to think a lot about the challenges. So basically in my game, the player has to find and rescue 3 of these drones. So we can make a little bit of level design in that in terms of having escalating difficulty. So the first drone I'm just going to put sort of out here, and it's just going to be guarded by maybe 1 giraffe. So that's not going to be that hard. And then the next one will be behind a fence of sort of moving mines that I will add later. But the first one will just be guarded by this giraffe here. And I think I can't remember what I set his perception range here. I'll set him to sense the player in a 40. You can also use the gizmos to sort of see how far is that. So sort of see it's out here. So it's not that bad, but that means you won't get noticed by him right when you start the game, which is nice. You can also do like this, so I can sort of see it real time. Maybe 50 is fine, I think. So that's the first challenge. That's simple enough. Then I have made some space mines I'm going to add in. Evil space mine, it's called.
Nice. So for those who missed it in chat, you can toggle the gizmo by just clicking on it there in the scene right there, at the top right.
And you can see it's super useful now because on this space mine is very simple. It's just 3 bricks. It's the hazard brick, as you was mentioning. Then it's a hover brick that makes it sort of go up and down the model, and then it's a platform brick that makes it go left and right. So when I have to sort of look at where does it actually go, you can sort of see the green line here tells me how far out the platform goes, and the hover action here, the amplitude is how much does it go up and down, and then I can sort of almost create this evil iron curtain of if you will, of space mines that are just going back and forth, which is pretty. It's going to be pretty difficult for the player.
Why do you guys always make games that are just like so hard for me to actually play after? Can we make a nice, friendly, wholesome game one time?
I mean, that's also fun, but space shooters,
friendly wholesome games can be hard. It's you work hard to be wholesome, and
fair enough.
I think that's gonna be the goal for the golems.
Okay.
I love Rasmus's skybox. He used the same like Moody Skies asset add-on that I did, but instead of using the night sky, he used the space one. And so another example of just how even with a little change like that completely changes the look and kind of feel of your game. I'm so excited to take on the space camels when I see his level kind of design.
Yeah, actually, Ashley and I participate in a lot of actual game jams. And when we look at people's projects, it's probably one of the first things we mention is just adding those kind of details, like a background and giving your game a mood is sometimes the thing that makes it feel the most complete, like a really polished, good game.
Absolutely. All about that aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
There is a space, actually, speaking of space, you mentioned quite a few of the add-ons, Carol, but there are actually some Easter eggs as well you can get when you finish the tutorials of the microgame, and when you build and upload your first game project to play.unity.com. And I believe when you make your first change to your project, we actually unlock different add-ons, and there are some really cool ones there. Especially if you are a little bit nostalgic around Lego, some castle stuff, some Lego space stuff, and things like that. So just putting it out there for you to check out.
Nice. Yeah, thank you for that tip. That's true. We also mentioned them last game jam, in case it's all available on the YouTube channel if you want to check those out. That's true. The Lego Microgame jam itself, and the Lego Microgame, and actually going through the microgame is actually all a game. So a lot of metagaming in there. Gameception. So just enjoy it. When you win, you can unlock a lot of cool Lego asset packs because of it. Cool. Rasmus, were you going to show us anything else, or should we head back to Ashley?
I think I'm going to die a lot now, so maybe we should head back to Ashley until I balance out my little mining thing here, because it looks very evil.
For sure. Before we start, though, Ashley, is it okay if I do a very dramatic reading of the Legolem's backstory that some of chat has given to me?
This is priority. We cannot continue the game until we know his backstory. Please tell us.
So from Super Moon Lord. One day I was just a suffer. They called me Legolem. Every time they froze time, and when it starts to move, I will die. Then it stops again, just to start over again. Thank you. Please appreciate that.
That is amazing. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You. Thank you for that perfect backstory. I'm so excited for this game now. Oh my God. Okay. Y'all, it's official. It's going in there. I'm adding some speech bubbles, and we're going to do in-game dramatic reading of that. Love y'all. Y'all are great. This is fun.
Yes, thank you so much. Super Moon Lord.
We have an audio brick as well, Ashley. Maybe we should do a voiceover of that eventually and put it inside the game in that great voice. We should have Carol actually.
Carol's specific dramatic reading voice.
Exactly. That would be great.
You asked, chat, you asked for it. We'll deliver.
Just a suggestion, but yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Golem, let's go ahead and go back to the Golem room in my game, and let's I think it's time for giving the player the ability to defeat them, because at the end of the day, that's their full purpose, to serve as a challenge, and then they die. So I'm going to I've set up a bunch of bricks here already, and let me walk you through them. So the first thing I did was I added this button object. So if I go into my contraptions folder in my project, there's a button action, and this is essentially something that the player can jump or step on, and it will do whatever behavior brick is attached to it. So in this case, I attached a touch trigger. So when the player touches this button, it triggers something. But what does it trigger? I set the specific actions for this touch trigger to do 3 things. And to do this, I added 3 bricks to the golems and to a platform I have up above. So it is that time to add the explode brick to the golems. And I've added them here. You can see our golems have some very trendy shoulder pads. And their bricks here, we can see the explode brick. Now, this explode brick, what it'll do is when it is time, it will get called to, and I'm going to do the single brick selection so we could see it. It will do an audio effect. We'll have the volume for it. We'll keep it kind of in the middle. And then we have the power. How intense should this explosion be? I feel so bad for Golem. I don't want to put Golem through too much. I'll make it like a not so intense explosion. But now, so I've done that for them both. And then what I'm doing with this platform up here, and I'll talk about the crystal that's on top of it in a moment, but I grabbed this platform from the stone structures folder, and I underneath secretly added another explosion brick, because what we're going to do is when the golems explode, we've completed our objective for this room. this platform is going to explode along with them, and the crystal is going to drop down so the player can collect their loot for a successful task completed. Now, yes, very, very secret explosion. So I'm going to go back to our touch trigger, and I can look at its actions here, and I have the specific actions. I want 3 things to happen. I want the 2 golems to explode, and I want that platform to explode as well. So I have these explode options here. When I hit select, we have a lot more actions to look through because we're adding a lot more behavior bricks to our game. So I basically selected platform explode, and we could see if we hover over them, this is actually really useful. It'll tell you which game object or Lego object in your scene these actions are applying to. So we're going to explode the platform, we're going to explode the second golem, and we're going to explode the first golem. So their destinies have been written. When we touch that button, it is time for them to say goodbye. F in chat when that happens. But now we also have this crystal here that I've added. So I added from the pickups folder this crystal game object, which already comes with a pickup behavior brick. Now, the pickup brick tells you basically it'll play an audio effect, and then it'll have a particle effect, a bunch of sparkles around it, so the player knows that they can pick it up. And then I also have a brand new brick available to the LEGO Microgame, which is the counter brick. So before, if you've used the LEGO Microgame, you may have seen, let's say when you collect these crystals, it gets applied automatically to your overall score, but maybe you want to work with numbers and such that aren't related to the score. In this case, I'm using this as almost like a currency counter. I want to count how many crystals we can get, so that way we can go to the shopkeep and be able to purchase things based on how many crystals we have. So in this case, I have this counter brick added, and in this counter brick, I can go ahead and add some variable information. Now, a variable, for those who are new to scripting and interactions in Unity, is basically means something. It's a name. It's a container for some data. Very often it can usually be, let's say, like a number, like a float or an integer, or it could be a specific game object. In this case, and you can see kind of my attempts at testing this out before, I went to add a new variable, and then I called it crystals. And so now I have this crystals variable in my project that I can use. And what I'm saying is, okay, when the player touches this brick, we're going to add a number to our amount of crystals. We're going to add the number 1. So you touch 1 crystal, you add 1 crystal to your overall crystal count. And then we're going to pause for a second after that. And then we're not going to set this to repeat, because we don't want this to keep adding until you have like 9 billion crystals right in your variable. We don't want that. We're not gonna make bank in this level. So I'm going to leave that unchecked, and then I can also check the variable settings overall for the whole entire game. So I have the name for that variables. Again, it's called crystals. And then I have the initial value set to 0. When we start playing the game, I don't want you to have any crystals in your inventory. So you set that to 0 to make sure that happens. And we're going to use the UI. We're going to leave that checked so that we can see in the top corner the actual amount of crystals that you have. So we're set with that. Let's take a look also at the touch trigger, because now with this touch trigger, I want to use this to do a specific action. And that specific action is to activate that counter brick. So I'm going to select that and do crystal counter for its action. So add 1 action for it to do, make that counter, and now I should be set. But here's the thing. If I explode the platform, the crystal, because of its pickup behavior, is going to stay kind of floating in the air, and we won't be able to reach it because it's way up high and not where the player is. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a tiny Unity developer hack. Those of you who are a little bit more experienced with Unity know that you can add physics to your game object, for example. Now, I'm going to do that for this crystals group here. So I'm going to make sure I have my my brick selection, like the multi-select tool on. I'm going to select the whole crystal object. Then I'm going to turn off the Lego tools so I can see it kind of cleanly in the inspector. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close my lighting options here and my characters. Where's my crystal in my inspector? There it is. So I selected my crystal game object, and I'm going to go down to add component, and I'm going to add a rigid body. A rigid body is a component that you add to a game object in Unity to apply physics to it. So since this is a 3D game and not a 2D game, I'm just selecting plain old rigid body. And then I want to make sure I have use gravity selected. Now, in order to do our collisions successfully, I also need to add a box collider to our crystal object. So I'll add a box collider. I will press edit collider, these little edit buttons, and you'll see these kind of green little gizmo box goes on, and I can adjust them to be the size of the Lego brick here. Now, I'm not going to get super specific with this, and you'll see shortly when I kind of press play, the collider won't necessarily match up perfectly with the crystal because the crystal is going to have an animation that's going to kind of like make it hover above the collider. But the whole point here is that we don't want the crystal to stay in the air. We want it to fall when the platform explodes. And we also want it to not fall through the floors and stuff of the level. So we have our crystal object here set up. We may have to, since we're working with physics, we may have to do a bit of tweaking and testing. But I think we have the majority of what we want to achieve for our first Lego Lem challenge room. And my goal here is ideally, and we'll see, if I press that button in the room, it should explode the golems, explode the platform, the crystal falls down, we collect it, it adds 1 to our crystal count. Let's do it. Fingers crossed. Let's test this out.
I have a few questions while we play this game through.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing this, you mentioned a lot of audio stuff and a lot of cool audio. We talked about voiceover. So are we actually even allowed to add our own audio files to these games?
Yes, yes, of course. Yes, you can add your own bespoke art and audio files if you want to the games that you submit.
Nice, perfect.
Y'all.
You did it.
Rip
Did you do it?
Rip Lego Lems. They've served their purpose. Press F for respect.
Awesome.
And we got the crystal. It's a cheat. And we could see it, our crystal count here in the top right.
Nice.
We have 1 crystal now. But at what cost? At what cost have we obtained this crystal? Rest in peace, Lego Lems. I think we're ready to go on to our next challenge. I'm kind of sad now.
I am sad too. We've built so much. There was so much history with Lego Lem. Felt like we had a relationship. How are we gonna go on?
We need to move on. We need to move forward. I'm gonna go start working on the next part of the challenge. Why don't we take a look at what Rasmus is working on? I see he has a bunch of behavior bricks on his space giraffe, space camel. I'm not sure what's canon anymore.
I don't know either, but I'm just basically
gosh.
fleshing out my first level. I think it's going to be so hard. I can't. I actually forgot to give myself shooting abilities, so I can't even defend myself against these space giraffes. So I think I'm going to die.
Oh.
But you can give yourself shooting abilities, actually, right?
I can, and I will. I think I will have to.
Yeah.
Because now I'm gonna try and. Oh, I did a mistake. I can just finish the game now. That's great. And it's quite easy. Okay, so let's see when this guy. I need to get to the first. Oh, there's a cat sitting. Oh shit!
Is
that from your game? No, that was your actual cat.
My actual cat just came and you actually just killed me, cat. Do you realize that? Okay.
Cat coming in with the sound effects, just jumping in.
I'm just gonna
part of the
try
gameplay.
I'm just gonna try one more. To see. Oh, I need to set up my scene in the build setting. I see. So this. So actually, originally I made this game to not even have the player shoot, but then it got too difficult. And then I figured, okay, as you can see, these guys shoot me very quickly. So I could adjust it, but it actually felt more fun when you could shoot yourself. So I think I'm going to add shooting abilities to my little space plane here. So I'm just going to go into my Behaviour Bricks folder, and this I'm going to add as a real brick because I actually think it looks cool on this little spaceship here. My shoot brick right in front here. It's almost like it was built for it. So then I need to actually have a trigger on a button, right? So I press a button and then I shoot, or press something and then I shoot. So for that we have the input trigger. This is right here. So I don't want to add that as a brick. I think I would rather add it as a script, as I showed before, just because because I think my spaceship looks nice as it is. So I'm going to go in here, and then I'm just going to drag the input trigger up over here, and then I have it here. And then I can click the gizmos and actually click here to interact. And I don't want it here. I can say what action should the input trigger target, and of course it should be the shoot action. So I want it to be specific actions and size 1, and then I'm going to select the shoot. So all of these are not shoot; these are hazards. So this would have been smart to do before because I have a lot of different things. But here it is: player spaceship shoot. And then the key should probably be jump. That's space in this case. And it should just be enabled. Yeah, that's fine. We don't need to show the prompt, and we can have it repeat so that I can press it multiple times. Then the actual shoot action here. There is, of course, a whole bunch about, velocity. Yes, we should not use gravity because that would be unrealistic. We're in space after all. And we don't want the shoot brick to repeat because the input, basically, it will just keep shooting even if we don't press the key. So we don't want that. So accuracy pretty high, probably to the max, and then velocity pretty high. But now I'm just going to fire a projectile. So what happens if that projectile actually hits myself while I play? See, that it works. I can shoot now. But then if I fly forward and shoot, I actually kill myself. No. That's because the projectiles, they are set up to hit the player. So I need to make sure I shoot. I need to actually go in and look at my projectile. You can see it's called Cannonball here. So if I go under Lego prefabs, Lego models, and then let me just see where it is. Lego projectiles here, Lego prefabs, Lego projectiles. So here, this is the cannonball that I'm firing. So it has the tag projectile, and the tag projectile is set up to kill the player. So that's the problem. So what I did was I made a new, I basically took the cannonball here. I can do it again. Then I press Control D, and then I made a new cannonball, and I called it Cannonball Player Shoot. I'll just call it that. So now this one is called Cannonball Player Shoot. And then I changed the tag here so that it doesn't hit the player. I made a new tag called Player Projectile, and you just do that by pressing Add Tag here. So that means this one now has Player Projectile as a tag, and that will not hit me. Then on the giraffes, the enemies that I'm supposed to hit, I just click one here in the hierarchy, and you can see it actually has a touch trigger here where it senses the tag Player Projectile. And that touch trigger will then trigger the explode action on it. So basically the giraffes are looking for these player projectiles. So that means now I should be able to actually shoot the, once I change the projectile here, I should be able to shoot. I'm just going to put this one in here, Cannonball Player, which is the one I used before. So I'm just going to click my shoot brick, and then I'm going to drag the Cannonball Player in here. And then I should not be able to kill myself, and I should be able to kill the giraffes. So that's how you actually make it possible to shoot. Now I'm not shooting myself. There is a bit of smoke though, which is not realistic in space, but we can always change that later. Let me just see if I can...
you've commented on gravity in space, can't have that. It's not realistic. Smoke, not realistic. Space camels though are the realistic part.
I was gonna say
exactly.
I love that it's a Lego game with camels and droids, and the thing he cares about is the smoke.
So you can see these guys are not actually that difficult to avoid. Right, oops, I just missed these guys. There's a bunch of space giraffes here.
So you showed us how to the models for the projectiles, and I think that answers a question in chat earlier, which is somebody's like, if I wanted my character to shoot cupcakes, I think realistically they can just bring in the model of a cupcake and then add the projectile behaviors to them, and then you'll have a spaceship shooting cupcakes.
Yes, there is a projectile script here that you can add. You need to add a collider as well that fits. So you can sort of, if you basically look at these, you can see what's in there and what you need to add. So that's fairly simple to do. And there is also, right now you can choose between arrows, cannonball, and laser beams. So I think I have my space giraffes shoot laser beams now, and myself to shoot cannonballs. Nobody is using arrows in space; it's not efficient. So, but yes, you can switch the model out if you want. I actually did a game where I think I shot the ducks made out of Lego, but they were rigid bodies, and so they started rotating in a weird way because of the shape of the duck. So
I love that.
Yeah,
it must have been amazing and chaotic.
It was a little bit, yes. So my next goal is to make it a little bit more difficult with these minefields. I think this one is too narrow and makes it too easy to avoid it. So that's what I'm going to change now.
Nice. So we're going to go to our next little Q&A session, and I have a question for you. I asked this for every single Lego friend that we bring onto this stream, and a lot of people want to know about what it's like working at Lego. So even at Unity, I think Ashley and I and you are working a little bit of our dream job. We get to play with Lego, which is like our childhood kind of like nostalgic thing that we love, that made us probably start loving games to begin with. And then we get to work on Lego and games at the same time. For me personally, this is kind of like one of the big highlights of my career. And maybe you can talk a little bit about like how Lego holds a special place in your heart and what your history with it is and how you pass on that like passion.
I think I remember when I was a kid and I got my first big Lego set, and how that felt. And I can see that when I'm showing my kids now something that I've been working with, and I can also see it sometimes and feel it myself sometimes when we try something new that we are working with inside the company. So there is definitely that whole nostalgic feel. It's like you're working for a nice old uncle or something like that, and you are kind of becoming him as well at the same time in a weird way. And then it's really about values and kids. It's a company that really is very much caring about how can we actually make the best play for children. Both digitally and physically, right? And not just for children, but also for adults. And that's why we have things like BrickLink and BrickLink Studio and the LEGO Microgame and LEGO Ideas. And I think that whole creativity is something that people really care about and are extremely genuine about. I remember when I got my first Lego set, it was the Black Sea Barracuda old Lego pirate ship.
Oh yeah.
And it was on Christmas, and my parents, they had just given me a soft present. You know how boys, they hate soft presents. I think I was soft 8 or something like that. Yeah, that's basically like a clothes, right? I think I'd gotten a really nice sweatshirt or something like that. It was really nice. And then I didn't want to seem spoiled or anything, so I didn't say anything, right? I didn't say anything to them. And then they looked at each other in a funny way, my mom and dad, and then they didn't say anything. And I wouldn't say that I wasn't happy about my present. And then very late in the evening on Christmas, they asked me, so Rasmus, did you have a nice Christmas? And I almost couldn't bring myself to say it, but I said, yes, it has been really nice. Maybe something was missing a little bit, they said. And they were sitting in the couch, and I still remember my dad, he just took his arm and brought it back behind the back of the couch. And then he brought forth this amazingly massive Lego box, which was the pirate ship. And then I started crying immediately. It was amazing. So I actually still had that pirate ship 2 years ago until my kids, one of them dropped it by accident, and then they started building something else out of it, which is also nice, right? It's
Yes.
also nice. It's kind of a nice legacy, if you will. And so that's kind of the feeling I have with it. And it's the same thing with my kids when we sit and build. And now they are building Lego models out of the games they play with me, because obviously I have a background in the gaming industry. So right now it's Among Us. So this is what my son, he built recently. It's like an Among Us character. And then this is the coolest part here. So I don't know if you played
the game.
This. Yeah. So he comes with stuff like that for me every day. And that really makes my day. It's really awesome.
That is amazing. Blue is sus, but also, I love that bone. Maybe
exactly.
Kind of sus, but maybe it wasn't blue, but oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a great. And for those who don't know, also a game made with Unity. So perfect combo.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that great story. It's really nice. I think when you were talking about this previously, it's just really nice to pass on that love and passion. I think Lego is really one of those franchises that have really transcended generations, still delights all generations, and you continue to kind of create, like as you've seen with some of the prizes that we've shown, innovates constantly and bringing in new technology. And that's why I think Unity is really, really happy to work with you on this micro game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you.
Likewise.
Yeah. So let's get back to what Ashley's doing. Did you set everything up yet, or?
So the second challenge room is pretty much complete at this point. I was just thinking about the final kind of interactions to add to make it officially challenging. But the second room that we have here is our cannon room. So we have these cannons here. So I'm going to move around with my scene view tools here so we can zoom in. So I have these cannons. I grabbed them from the models folder, and I added explode bricks to each of these cannons so that we have the ability to destroy them, just like we did to our poor Lego Lems. At least cannons aren't sentient. I don't think these cannons are sentient. I hope they're not, because they're going to have the same exact fate. And so we have to get through this room, dodging all the cannonballs, to hit the button at the end and activate those explode bricks so they all explode and the platform above explodes so we can get crystal number 2. So once I have everything here set up, which I do, I'm going to have this trigger, touch trigger block selected, and I have 4 actions set for it. And I want to destroy each of those cannons. So I'm going to look for cannon explode. So I have 3. I have cannon explode, and then I have cannon explode 1 and cannon explode 2. And then also I want to destroy that second platform. So platform 1 explode. There we go. So I'm going to save. This should work in theory. Now, one thing I also did, and you can see it in my game view, is that I added a fence because I want the player to go through the Lego Lem room first. And I added this fence with an explode brick that gets triggered once we defeat the Lego Lem. So the second room will then unlock. Now I'm going to, someone's asking, like, what stops from walking over the cannons instead of dodging them? You will see. We won't be able to. I don't think we'll have that choice. But I'm going to press play.
I was going to ask the same thing, because the way I play Dark Souls is like just dodge everything and fight nothing.
That's the best strategy. Let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to run over here, and I'm going to, no, Lego Lems, leave me alone. I got to change my camera settings. But you can see in my scene view that that fence exploded, and now it's unlocked. So now I can go back and grab the crystal and then return over to the other room, the cannon room, and we'll see how we can go. I'm actually going to pause and tweak. Let's see if I can tweak my camera a bit. So I'm going to go into my Cinemachine settings, and I'm going to zoom out a bit. Let's see. This should make it a little bit better, and we can see the character a bit more.
I want to reiterate how awesome it is to use Cinemachine for this, because actually cameras is one of those things that for making a game was like used to be a really big challenge, I think.
Yup. Change that, and then there we go. We're all centered now. We're good to go. Let's go after some cannons. So Also, fun fact, if you make changes while you're in play mode, like I did just now, what we do is we let you do this for testing sake, but when you get out of play mode, those changes won't save. So be sure, like in this case, I made these changes and I want to save them. I'm going to click on these 3 dots here for my Cinemachine virtual camera. I'm going to hit copy component. Later, I'm going to paste in that data that we did. So I'm going to go now back to my game view and I'm going to try to avoid these cannons. So let's see. Cannon 1, I don't know, folks. I don't know how I can avoid this. We're going to see. I made it through. Okay.
Ooh.
Oof. They're going, and I don't know if y'all can tell, these cannons are going way faster than it looks like, so I'm like, I'm not sure my chances. Okay, well, okay, I made the number 2, and then if I get through this button.
Whoa.
No,
So close.
it got me so close. So I am going to restart the game. I'm going to maybe make this a little bit more difficult. I'm going to change the behaviors of the cannons so that they're not so quite aggressive. They're avenging their friends, the Lego limbs. They're you know, they got to get that vengeance. So I'm going to select the cannons. Let's see, and go to, where are my cannons here? So cannon, that's the cannon button. All right, first cannon has a shoot action on it. Let's change. I'm going to lower the volume because those are very loud booms. I'm going to lower the velocity and the accuracy, which seems odd for a cannon. Now I'm convinced that they're sentient if they can be accurate with how they shoot. The lifetime. So, and if you're ever curious, like you see something like lifetime and you think, what does that mean? What happens if I change that? If you hover over the word, Unity will show you a little like tooltip that says what it does. So in this case, lifetime is the time in seconds before projectile disappears. Mm-hmm. So let's say we only wanted to like be visible in our scene for 1 second. We could set it to that. But we wanted to get fully across the room. I think 5 seconds is enough time for that. Yeah. And then use gravity and then repeat. And then we have the explode one that we're not going to mess with because that's what happens when we defeat the cannons. I think we're in a better place. Maybe I can do a better job.
I think it also avoids the issue of, you guys probably saw, but like cannonballs just start filling up the room. And then maybe that's part of your gameplay, but maybe you don't want to have the room filling up all the way with cannonballs.
Yes. And I will say that one thing to keep in mind also is that, especially because this is going to be a WebGL game, this is something that you're going to put online and people have to download. Be aware of how many Lego pieces you may have floating around in your scene. If you have a lot of cannonballs, for example, it may look cool, but you are going to take a performance hit because you have to like render all those cannons and essentially and have them exist in your scene. That takes up memory. So if you set the time to be shorter, let's say like 2 seconds, then you won't have as many piling up and your game will be a lot more performant as a result. Now, I don't want to go through that whole thing again with the golems. I just can't. My heart is I feel too bad. So I'm going to go to the fence here and let's see. I just selected in my scene view. And this is a great tip for testing as well. I'm going to select the fence, and if it lets me select the fence, let's see. I'll get closer. I'm too far.
I just want to shout out to the chat who are all suggesting ways to bypass the cannons. I think you all have a career in QA testing at some point.
Absolutely. Let's see. If I can, I'm going to type fence here in my hierarchy. Another good tip if you're looking for something and you're like, where'd it go? There's too many things going on in my game right now. You can just search for it. So I search for fence. I have cannon fence right here. I'm going to focus on it. And I'm going to go to the inspector and turn it off. And so now, because I'm doing this in play mode, it'll temporarily keep the fence off in play mode so I can go into this room and test the cannon without having to go through all the stuff with the golem. So, all right, we're ready. Let's go. Oh, I didn't paste in those Cinemachine values like I said I would. I can just paste them in here temporarily, paste component values. I should do that out of play mode, but I digress. So I'm going to go over into the cannon room. Let me quickly change my Cinemachine. There we go. And I'm going to, oh look, okay, those are sad cannons. They're not, okay, let's see. All right. Okay.
Oh no.
They're everywhere, they're everywhere.
They're the cannons that could.
Okay.
Wow, that is so hardcore.
Okay. All right. No, it got me again. Okay, maybe I get rid of that third cannon. It's too hard officially. We got to take it a notch down. No Dark Souls dungeon. It can be like semi-dark souls, kind of dim soul. Go to and be able to buy our treasure and use those crystals. So I'm going to get out of play mode. And now the next thing I'm going to work on is,
hold on
Do I
one
add a-
second. I
Oh,
think our
sure.
stream just went down. So
Uh-oh.
let's just see if Andrew comes back really quick because I do not think we are live anymore. What's going on here?
We're back. It is back. It looks like, according to
Oh,
chat.
okay. Is it?
Are we back, chat?
Thank God.
Oh, we're apologies.
We're back.
We're apologies.
Okay.
We're sorry.
thank God.
We almost lived that Lego Lem life, but no, we refuse. We are back and we're going to continue. And we are going to move forward and add some, let's see. So we'll add the shopkeep. I think it's time to add the ox. It is the year of the ox and we want to celebrate the ox, and
Yay.
Lucky Ox will have its own little store. So I'm going to go to the add-ons folder here and go to Lego Year of the Ox. I'm going to go to my prefabs, go to models. Then we have this cute little ox dude. Like, oh my God, I'm going to add it to my scene. And I'm going to press F to focus on it. It's facing the other direction. Turn around and talk to us, ox. Let's get a look at you. Look at that cutie. Oh my goodness. It's so cute. Look at that. And it even has its own behavior bricks as well. So it's automatically going to start talking. It's going to look at the player. So this has some cool stuff added to it already. Let's customize it to be our shopkeeper. So I'm going to, with the multi-select tool, make sure our Lego ox is fully selected. In fact, I'm going to select it in the hierarchy to make sure I select every little bit of that ox. I'm actually going to move it again, I think. Let's move it more towards the back. Oh, no, I just grabbed the body. Let's see. Multi-select, and I will grab them both. In fact, to make this easier, I'm going to turn off the Lego Move tools and just use the W key or the Move tool on the top left to get this in the exact spot that I want it to be in. Surrounded by those pretty lights, looking all cute. All right, now my ox is set. Now I'm going to look in the inspector and see what its speech action is. It's going to yell, Happy New Year. And I am going to, I like it. I want to keep it. I'm going to also add another message. Happy New Year. Buy some treasure. You can set the type to yell or talk. I like yelling. When I have something important to say, I yell. So I'm going to leave that be. And then I'm going to go down. I can set the timing and such for the speech bubble. I think that's fine. So we have our shopkeeper, and our shopkeeper now talks and a look at the player. Now we have to add the actual item that you can buy. So I'm going to add some treasure. We can get that in the original Lego models folder. Where'd it go? Let's see, contraptions. Yes, treasure chest. So I'm going to click and drag this treasure chest, add it to my scene here. I'll offset a little bit from the ox. Now, this also has a couple of its own custom behaviors, and I actually really like using the treasure because it has a win condition in that if you touch it, if you use it, if you open the treasure, it will use the win condition to say you've won the game. You have been successful. But what we don't want is for you to be able to touch the treasure and you don't have enough crystals and you win. No, that's not how it works. You have to earn your right to open the treasure box. You need 2 crystals in order to open it. Let's actually say, see how we can do that. So we're going to add, and also we need to let the player know how much the treasure costs. So we're going to add a speech brick to work as an information sign. And then we're going to add a special trigger to determine how the player can open it. So I am going to go ahead and add a speech brick first to this treasure. And I'm going to pick it up a bit in the air so we can like see the bottom of it a bit more clearly for this, because I'm going to try to be sneaky and hide these bricks on the bottom. So I'm going to add that speech brick. I didn't have my Lego tools on. Okay, now I'm going to add the speech brick. There we go. I'm going to move it. I just yeeted my treasure box into space. Let's bring that back. And I'm going to select this again. I want it to be nice and hidden. There we go. That works. So now we have the speech bubble here under the treasure chest. And I'm going to change in the inspector its talk type to information sign. And I'm going to set its text to say 2 crystals. And that's it. I'm going to set its pause to be nearly 0. And I'll set it to repeat because we want that to stay up. So now we're done with our little information sign to say how much this costs. And then what we also want to do is add a nearby trigger so that when the player is near, or maybe we can even use the touch trigger. Let's see. So if I select the with the multi-select tool and select the treasure box or treasure chest here in the inspector, I'm going to, let's see. I have already these specific actions to explode and win, but I want to add a condition. Now, this is key to the brand new counter behavior bricks that we've added to this LEGO Microgame. We want our condition to say when crystals is equal to 2, then we're able to do the actions determined up above. And what we'll do is that it'll explode, quote unquote, the treasure chest to open it. And then it will activate our we won game sequence. So I'm going to save that and we're going to test to see if that'll work. And we're going to then grab the crystals. And then, so I think we're going to maybe do a full kind of first pass run through of the game. Are we ready for this? I'm going to see if it's going to work.
Go for it.
Let me put the treasure back down on the floor.
ground.
I think that will help. That would
That'll
suck
be
after
evil.
all of that. It'd just be up there and you can't reach it. And you're just like, no, why hast thou forsaken me? So I am going to bring this back down and maybe I can just hide the brick. I'm going to pretend it's not there. Shh, secret bubble.
Good. Yeah, that's a good tip.
If you have colliders and stuff, that may cause issues, but I don't think it'll be a concern here for me. So save and play. What if someone's asking, what if you have more than 2 crystals? Absolutely. You don't have to say when it's equal to 2 crystals. Oh, there's now a win condition UI that's popped up because the treasure chest has a win condition. So we'll change that later. But for crystals, you can spawn as many as you want. Since I'm only doing 2 challenge rooms that have 2 crystals, that's why I'm sticking to the number 2. But feel free to customize this however y'all would want. You can add as many as you want or as little as you want. So I'm in my game view here. I'm going to go grab, whoops, I ran to the wizard. I'm sorry, wizard. I'm going over. There's the ox. It's saying Happy New Year and buy some treasure. And then we see 2 crystals. Oh, it's bouncing on it. It's a speech break. That's cool though. All right, 2 crystals. We know what we need to get. We're on a mission. Let's go do this. All right, so I'm going to go run over. Our golems are trying to follow. I'm going to try to dodge them. We dodge them there. And there was a deadly explosion. And we look at the remains of the Lego Lems. And they are gone. There's our crystal. Their sacrifice was not in vain. We've obtained crystal number 1. And now we got to go grab crystal number 2 in the cannon room. Let's see if we can make it. We made it a little more doable. All right. We made it by a hair.
Made it.
Press the button. Another explosion. Ruins.
Nice.
Disaster. But we got the next crystal. So now we have the 2 crystals. Before I was approaching the treasure chest and I was touching it, but you could see that like nothing would happen. Now if I go back, let's see if we can win because we have the 2 crystals.
Woohoo.
Yes, we did it. Doing a flex. We got this. We did it, folks. So now the last part that I'm going to do is set up the kind of the game win screen. That I'll make some changes to the UI and have a menu and more. I'll show you how to change those. But before we do that, why don't we take a look at the progress that Rasmus has been making? I'm seeing him set up some pretty cool stuff there in space. But is this realistic space or space camel space?
Of course, it's realistic. It just happens to have space camels, right? It's realistic Lego space. Okay, so I think I got a very first iteration of the whole thing now, and I like the way you put the triggers underneath the hats of the wizard. So I did the same thing. So he got a little bit lower, so you can easily read his chat. Hi, space giraffes kidnapped by drones. Free them for loot. Okay, cool. And so there is the first space giraffe here, and it's shooting lasers at me. And it's I got it. They're pretty tough to kill. There's the first drone. It's following me. So this one, the next one has two space giraffes. And I found out that it's easier if you fly up and down, because then they have to turn. It's very much like Dark Souls, this game. Oh my God, it got me. Damn it. So it's possibly a little bit difficult. I need to maybe tweak the speed with which you shoot. So I think I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to take a look at my giraffe here, and I'm actually going to. Actually, I think I've turned it into. I don't know if we talked about prefabs yet, but I turned my space giraffe into a prefab in here, which means that prefab basically means that it's kind of like the carbon copy, if you will, of my space giraffe. So I can actually go in here and tweak its laser beam. It has fairly low velocity. Maybe I should try and make it even lower, and then reduce the accuracy as well, like this. And that will then do it for all the space giraffes in the game. So let's just see if that. Let me just check if it was the right prefab I had. Yeah, there you go. A lot lower velocity and a lot lower accuracy. Okay, let's try now and see if it's easier. Okay, so I know what the quest is.
People in chat are asking if you can put a crosshair in here so that you know where you're shooting. I don't know if that's possible here in this game.
It is, but not. But then I would have to do something that is not part of the microgame right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of trying to challenge the system a little bit here. I mean, you can always do that because it's Unity, so you could do whatever you want.
True.
But then you would have to do something that is not part of the microgame. You'd have to do a little bit more work than that's standard.
Yeah, but you should. You definitely should figure out how to do it, Timothy. That's like a great kind of like next step for kind of
definitely
UI purposes. And you'll learn a lot about Unity that way.
This guy up here, I think he was the one that maybe has gotten me a few times. So this challenge here is great. It's just I can just sidestep it. So that's the problem in space, that it's difficult to make level design. You can't sidestep. But let's see if it actually works. Now I have my third drone. Let's fly back and see what he says, and if he opens that cage for me the right way. Thanks, dude. I'll open the cage behind me for loot. That's great.
Nice.
Now we can get the crystal.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
So now I also need to make my victory screen. I think it's a fairly. I actually need to add it to the build settings. I guess, Ashley, you will show that when you are working on yours.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Really quick question though, because I've seen this come up in chat a couple of times already. We showed how to use BrickLink Studio to bring in all kinds of bricks and people's models and things like that. But people are asking, what about if from other Lego franchises? So if they like Rock Raiders or they like the Friends or all those things, like how would it be possible to bring in similar bricks into this micro game?
The way you could do that is if you find something like that on BrickLink that you can download, or you can rebuild it if you want to in the BrickLink Studio. I mean, again, we support 8,000 different bricks. You probably won't find sort of like IP bricks, of course, things like Batman and Darth Vader and things like that. You won't find that in there, but you'll find a lot of other cool things that you can use. So our own IP stuff, you will find stuff like Ninjago and things like that.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm ready to show y'all the next step into making your games official. So right now I'm working on the game over screen. So what happens if one of the cannonballs hits us or Legolems actually get their revenge? What do? We have a game over screen. And right now I'm going into, if we go into our scenes folder, we have a couple of different menus to work with, and these are all preset for you. The only thing that you need to do is just change the text and where these buttons take you to. So in this case, I opened menu lose, and it originally said game over, but I'm really into like doing creative writing and stuff. And so I added, instead of game over, I just made it womp womp. You lost. And then I'm going to select this. Here it says the play button, but it's going to be the try again button. And I'm going to put in the scene name. So if I go in and select that play button and go into the inspector and scroll down, it's going to ask me, what scene do we load if this button is pressed? Now, I called my game, I believe, Ox Game. Yeah, Ox Quest. So I'm going to call mine Ox Quest, and I'm going to press save. So that's set. And then it's asking for the menu. And for the menu, when we go there, we'll go to menu intro. Now let's go over to the menu intro scene. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure that this scene, and this is very important. And if you're new to Unity, this is going to be maybe one of the more technical things that you do with the LEGO Microgame. So this is really important. If you're working on a scene or an area that you want to be included in your game, you need to go to File, Build Settings. It's going to open up a new window, and you're going to want to make sure that you add your currently open scene. So in this case, I've already added menu lose. It's right here. But when you're starting out for the first time, it may not be there. So by adding it to your open scenes, that's what adds it to the list of scenes that Unity needs to build and include in your final game that gets uploaded to play.unity.com. So once that's set, I'm going to work on the next menu here. So that's going to be our win menu. Going over to our scenes again, go to menu win. And instead of you won, what do we put? How do we celebrate that we won this game? What should we say? You won, but at what cost? Rest in peace, like a lamb.
You won, but you killed the drones. You won, but at what cost? Yeah, I like that.
You will always be remembered.
So, rest in peace, Lego Lem. I did a typo. Lem. I'm going to press save. And I'm going to make sure that the play button goes to the correct thing. So we want to go to Ox Quest. We're going to save. We have our menu set. So we have in the menu. Of course, that's really important to do because we need to name our game. So I called it Dungeon Ox, but I'm going to call it Ox Quest and the Sadness of Legoland.
That's definitely an indie game title. You can hear that.
There we go. Ox Quest and the Sadness of Legoland. I'm going to save.
Oh,
and the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my main Ox Quest scene. And I'm going to add, that's not included in my build settings. So I'm going to go to File, Build Settings, and I'm going to add it to my open scenes. And now we see Ox Quest that's been added here. So I'm going to turn off my original quest here. And then now, if I go to play mode, in fact, I'm going to save and I'm going to start with our menu intro scene. So I can make sure that these buttons that we just altered are still working. So scenes, menu intro, and I'm going to I think I'm ready to go on full screen for this game. We're going to maximize on play and press the play button. And we're going to carry on. I'm really zoomed in. Interesting. I wonder why I'm really zoomed in here. I can move. Oh, I probably moved the camera. Maybe, or I did something with the UI. I messed with the UI. Maybe it's too long of a title. I'm not sure what I did, but let's see. I'm going to zoom out a bit, and maybe it's my window here. Let's take a look at what's happening. I'm going to
I think maybe put it
change-
onto 2 sentences.
I wonder if it's a sentence or not. Oh, let's see. And I think it might be because of the title. Yeah. So let's get out of here. We'll call it Ox Quest. I can put the full title on the box art. And
this is a marketing advice for you guys. If you're going to make your game, make sure that your marketing team can actually easily market your game by avoiding titles like this that will enrage people that will send the game to.
Okay, so I saved. Interesting. I'm looking at my game view and controls. Do I activate controls? I touched something. That's what happened. And it broke. But either way, it still works and we could use it to play. So I'm going to go and hit enter. I'm going to unpause. Actually, no, I have an error and I'm going to go figure out what that is. But if I go to our, let's see, menu lose, maybe this will be okay. Also zooming in. I think I just have to build the actual game and do it that way. But this is part of game development. As you're working on your game, you're going to try something out and it's not going to work. And you're going to wonder, what do I do? Do I fix this? Unity might give you an error in the console here that might give you a hint as to what's going on. You might want to check your game to make sure that everything, all the bricks that you've added are implemented correctly. Different ways to approach it, but that is how you can go ahead and start solving these kinds of problems. I know that Rasmus is also working on the same thing. So let's actually go take a look at he's implementing the menu and see if he isn't having the same issue that I am.
Okay, so I tried to let me just go to my intro scene. It is down here, so we can check it out. Space drone rescue. That's the intro scene, and if you win, drones rescued, and you got rich. So I didn't have a super long title like you, but what I did was I just copied the title over here in the menu, so you can basically just duplicate this, and then you can write something else if you want to. And I didn't have any problem similar to you, so you can go a little bit crazy if you want to.
Beautiful.
I don't know. I don't know what we should write. Anyway, we don't need it. It was just to show it.
Maybe chat can think of a different subtitle for this game.
Oh, yes. We also have stickers you can add, by the way. Maybe we should show that. You can see there is this little map here. Yeah, exactly. So so you can see we have this source image, this treasure map here, right? Maybe we should add something else. We actually have a whole bunch of cool things here.
Yes.
So, oh, the poop. Okay, we need the poop for when you lose right away. So I'm just going to save this. Sorry.
We're mature, guys.
I'm getting really...
Everyone is adults.
Exactly. I'm getting a little bit immature now. Sorry. Okay, so try again. That sticker we need to switch out. It has to be a big poo, right? Because you clearly didn't get it. Oh, there's a spider as well, and actually the wizard is here as well. Ashley, if you want to add your wizard to your menu, which is cool. And the poop needs to be bigger, right? Definitely. It's way too small. You can actually scale it up like this. Okay, so there is a poop and a hot dog, so you get to choose, I guess. And then sorry, this is funny. That's what I said. Like, game development has to feel like playing, right? That's what this does. Okay, so okay, so let me go back to the because I want to use that wizard. I thought that he's kind of the one giving the mission, right? So maybe we should say, rather than this treasure map, which is right next to the play button. I just find it here. We actually put in that wizard. There he is.
I love that there's a UI option included right into here because, like, again, another thing that really can make your game feel complete is to have all these things at the beginning, in the middle, all these scenes that happen when you're to trigger certain actions in your games.
I wonder if I'm just duplicating him here, or I was trying to anyway. Now he should be duplicated. And let me see if they actually have the giraffe as well. Of course, they don't have the space giraffe, the evil one, but a normal one could be pretty cool as well. There's a lot of fun stickers here. So this is one of the free add-ons, the stickers add-on that you can download. So there's a classic knight here from Lego Castle as well, and there's a big trophy and a whole bunch of characters. And some of them, you can see there is an astronaut win face and there's an astronaut lose face, so that they are kind of made to fit the win and lose screens, all these faces and characters.
Perfect.
You also have like whole body win and lose. So Benny here is a lose and as a win character. Let me see if there is a giraffe. I can't remember if there is.
Vincent suggested a title, Super Drone Rescue Space Giraffe Attacks Part 7, The Revenge of Legolam, the movie, the game. It's okay. I would workshop that title a bit.
I think Vincent could be a professional title writer. That's a whole lot of impact right there.
Could you say that again? Well, it's just okay. So, okay, let's see what happens if I type that in, because Super Drone Rescue
Space Giraffes Attack Part 7, The Revenge of Legolam.
Okay, but then we need Legolam in this game as well. Oh God. Okay, I don't know how many characters we need to test this. Legolam, the movie, the game. That's it, right? That's
yep. That's it. Yes, perfect.
Oh God. Okay, but that's fine. We can just move these guys down a little bit, and then it's not a problem. Perfect. Look. I think it looks quite nice.
Yeah,
that actually looks awesome.
Very marketable game.
Okay, I'm gonna save this. We definitely need this. Cool. Let me just try to actually see if. Oh, actually, I'm not sure I set up my play button the right way. Yeah, it's set to load the Lego tutorial level. That doesn't work. I need to fix that. So that's here, the scene name, and then I need to find out what I called my scene. Okay. Now that should work. Let's try that out. There you go. That seemed to work fine. I'll just try and die and see if my lose screen works. It's not that difficult to die in this game. Oh, I died. Okay, you lost, and there's the turret, and then try again. Probably tries to load the tutorial scene again, I guess. No, that works. That was the right one. That's great.
Perfect.
Now I just need to try to win as well to make sure it works.
This is a more challenging screen.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Are you gonna get it?
I think so. I am trying to do a speed run. Sometimes it's better to just do a speed run and then why doesn't he die? God, I flew into the minefield. Damn it. Okay. Let's assume the win thing works. Quite sure it does, but what happens if I actually just fly without shooting anything? In Dark Souls 3, you often realize, or in any of the Dark Souls games that you guys are talking about, you often realize that you can actually finish the games easier by not killing something, but you can sidestep all the monsters on the way to the bosses. I wonder if it's the same in this game. If I sidestep this, can I get to this without killing anyone? Let's see. No. Okay, that last guy, he's a difficult one. Okay. I need to basically make a fake test because I can't finish the game right now. It's too difficult. So I need to make a fake test of where I don't actually finish the game, but I just make sure it actually works. So if I do how can I do that? So basically all I need to do is to trigger this guy's second nearby trigger so that he opens the cage, because that's the win condition. So drones freed greater than 2, I just say equals to 0. Just need to remember that. And then the other one, we don't want that to trigger because that's just going to be confusing. That's the quest starter speak. So we just say it has to be greater than 0. So right now, it should actually trigger the win condition, or trigger when you come back from the quest when you start here. Yeah, thanks, dude. He says, as if I have freed the drones, and then do this, and let's see what happens now. If it loads the win screen. Yay!
Yay!
Awesome.
Nice.
It works.
You did it, and you're rich.
I
It's
am.
apparently a capitalist space place.
But I did find
space giraffes.
exactly. But I did find a bug in the win screen where I'd actually tried to load the tutorial screen rather than the right screen. So that's good. I tested that.
Perfect. People are asking for the ideas contest. Can you write your own C# scripts, or does all the behavior need to be relegated to be included behaviors, move, alive, etc.?
No, this is all about learning. So if you are super great and can do something super advanced and do C# scripts, that's awesome. The whole point is we don't want to limit anyone. Even if you are new to Unity, you have the tutorial. You can start from there. If you are more advanced and you know how to use a lot of cool things in Unity and you can write C# scripts and stuff like that, then that's perfectly fine as well.
Yeah,
so
and
that's
I'm pretty
great.
sure. Yeah, I think you can also bring in your own assets from the asset store. Doesn't have to be the Lego assets or anything. So
nope.
Yeah. So that on that topic, actually, I think something that I think makes this Lego Microgame so special is the fact that you really made it feel like you're building Lego as if you're building it in real life. So I was kind of curious about how you went about designing that, actually.
Yeah, so actually there's some really cool guys that worked on this, that also worked on some of the, I don't know how many people know that, but Lego, they worked on this big MMO quite a few years back, called Lego Universe. And in that was actually a building system that was hidden a little bit far into the game. But one of those guys, he actually worked on this trigger system, trigger and action system now, and Mass is his name, and it's really awesome that that system that he has made, and him and everyone in his company that are sort of helping us out. They really went out of their way to try to make it feel like building with bricks, so that you don't just snap them together, but you actually they snap, but then you actually click as well to really make them click together to really get that feeling of Lego building. And the reason for that was that we kind of wanted to really make it feel like you are actually building a game just by building with Lego bricks. That was the starting point. Basically, you can build anything you want to a certain extent, of course, because the system has limits and stuff. But that was the starting point. Was we wanted to basically say you can make games and it's just as fun as just building with Lego bricks. That was the starting point. And I think what we have is a really, of course, it's a little bit limited because there's only 21 bricks, behavior bricks. But then think about how much different stuff you can actually make just with 21 different behavior bricks. I think it's really cool. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for giving us a little bit of background on that. And yeah, like I keep saying, like that was the one thing that I noticed when I went into the Lego Microgame was there was something very satisfying about even the small way that you made it click together and you add the behavior brick and all that, like in real life satisfaction you get from really playing with Lego. You get it inside of the game, which really adds to just this really makes it really a Lego Microgame for me. Yeah. For those who are asking, because there are some more advanced people in chat asking questions, but there are actually, we have like several winners. So there's 2 grand prizes, but there are bonus prizes as well that are, I think, how's it picked? I think randomly or through, how does it work, Rasmus?
So there are a total of, well, everyone is a winner because everyone that participates and sends in a submission that gets accepted will receive the Unity minifig here, of course.
Yeah.
Yay! But on top of that, there are 6 winners, if you will. There are the 2 grand prize winners that get all the different boxes that I showed before, and then there are two winners, but not grand prize winners. They actually get all the boxes except they won't get the Mindstorms box, the robot one, but they will get the Nintendo box and stuff. So this one is the special one that only the grand prize winners will get. And then on top of that, there are 2 randomly chosen from all the participants that will get the grand prize as well. So you might have a chance even if you are completely new at this. I saw somebody was a little bit worried that, oh my God, there are these awesome people that will do all this. I don't have a chance. You actually do have a chance.
Yeah. Awesome, which is really nice. That's a really nice feature to ask, actually. So yeah, everyone can participate. Don't be discouraged. You all have a chance, but you're all really winners, like Rasmus says. So, and I think there'll be many more kind of like opportunities like this too. We hold game jams and showcases all the time at Unity for the LEGO Microgame. So lots of opportunities. So we're getting close to the end of the stream. Shall we like give everyone's last run and last show of your beautiful games?
Let's do it. I actually fixed the menu thing on my end, and it was such a silly issue. So it's one of those things where it's like, it will not happen to the average person, but because of what I do at Unity and given my role, I'm often creating different, custom editor tools and such. And I had a custom layout that I was using for my editor, and that was messing with something in my being able to build. So I just turned off that custom layout I did that has nothing to do with the LEGO Microgame, something from work. I just threw that in the back. Now I have just one of the regular default layouts, and the game is working perfectly now. So I'm going to go through and actually play Ox Quest, The Sadness of Legoland. Let's begin.
Oh my God, I love that title.
I like the title. That's a good one.
So I am, okay, now I need to go. I'm going to talk to the wizard. Let's see, wizard, what do you have to tell me? Oh, I put the camera too low. Okay, help me get my treasure back. We need the crystals. We know the drill. Let's go do it. So we see the wizard talking. We have our Legoland friends. They're trying to walk around. I'm going to go. Let's hit this button. I should have made them more challenging. I was worried about them seeking vengeance, but really, now that we've had practice and now that we've gotten better, I'm gonna up that difficulty a bit. And then now we're gonna go run to the other room. I know, wizard, we're gonna get you your treasure. I got you, man. All right, we're gonna go to the cannon room. Let's see if we can make it through. Oh, no.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
What's happening?
Okay. Phew. Okay. Had silence, explosions everywhere, and we have the second crystal. Okay. Yeah. And so, all right, we're gonna go run over, and I think it's time. We're ready. We're gonna go buy that treasure back. Help our friend the wizard. Hi, cute little ox. And we did it. Yes. I like how the camera just completely somehow glitched over and zoomed into the character and made him explode. That was the most perfect ending. The Legolems got their revenge in the end. And now we need to change the title to Ox Quest and Legolems Avengement. So we've did it. Legolems return. That was great. Thanks all. That was fun.
Thank you. So we saw both of your games. I don't know if Rasmus wants to try one more time.
I'm gonna die. I could try again, but I'm sure I'll
Let's try one more time.
Okay. Well, I also got the right title now. Space Drone Rescue, Space Giraffes Attack Part 7, The Revenge of Legoland, the movie, the game.
Yes.
So
these universes cross over. They're canon.
Okay. Hi. Space giraffes kidnapped my drones. Free them for loot. Okay. Gotta fly off in my spaceship. And actually, I found out a way I can cheat. Haha! You didn't sense me because I can sense further than you. Haha. So that's one way. Okay, I'll cheat a little bit. I'll just kill one of them, and then the other one I'll actually engage. And if I can, God, it's tough because you have to avoid the lasers at the same time. Yes, I got him. Okay, so we got 2 drones now. I just need one more. This guy up here, he's sneaky. I just happen to know where he is, so I could just kill him like this. Okay, and now on for the minefield here. Question is, can I go above or below or around? Because I'm not quite sure. I'll try and cheat a little bit and just go above. I know that's a lot easier. And then shoot. No, God. Okay, that was okay. I died. That was a newbie mistake. I didn't realize they would go that quickly upwards. Anyway, I died.
Nice. Still a great
And
game though.
It
Yeah.
was, you did amazing. This is great. I love how in just the same amount of time we created two completely different games. But I realized we have to show a really important step of this process for everyone to be able to actually submit their games to the contest, and that's actually publishing your game. It's
Yep.
time to become official pro game developers. And if this is your first game ever, you're gonna publish your first game with this, and we have tools to make it really easy for you. I'm just gonna jump in the editor really quickly to show you how. All you need to do when you're done with your game and you finish your menus and you added them to your build settings. I saw someone asking in the chat, so I'm going to show it one more time. File, build settings, and make sure all your scenes are included in the build settings window. When you're done, just go to publish in the top menu bar, WebGL project, and it's going to open this publish window, and you can click get started. And essentially, Unity will build and upload your game automatically for you at play.unity.com. It'll give you the URL, and that URL is what you can then use to submit your game to the LEGO Ideas contest. So that's how you publish your game, as simple as that. You spend a couple of hours or a couple of days on your project, and you release it and show it to the world. And you can also send a link to your friends and your family so that they can play the game as well in their own web browsers right at home. So that's how you do it.
Yeah, as you guys all saw, we did that in less than a couple of hours, two very different types of games, but using a lot of the same mechanics and behavior bricks. And now you have until March 15th to do it. So I have high hopes for everyone. You all have a chance to win. So please do so. And to that end, they're going to do the judging between March 19th and 26th. And then the winners will be picked by March 29th. So we have a little special surprise for you, actually, even though for those who we're going to pick the top 10 games out of those, and we're going to play them for you, because I think that's the best part, is watching people play the games. So you can head over to our Twitch channel, which is Unity's called Unity Tech on twitch.tv. Unity will throw the link into chat. And then Rasmus and I, and maybe Ashley, if you want to join us, we're going to play through your games and see what you did and try and figure out what kind of things you did. I'm like really excited because this is always my favorite part of game jams.
Absolutely, yes. I keep saying that
That's
a lot. I'm so hyped for everything.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you. You can still ask questions. Like I said, we have the Discord. You can tag us on Twitter as well, and make sure you add the LEGO Game Jam hashtag, and we'll be able to help answer you. Rasmus, Anders, Ashley, everyone's going to be available to answer your questions if you're struggling through it. You still have a couple more weeks. We're really excited. Thank you so much for coming by, everyone. This was a really fun, great crowd.
We had a blast. Awesome. I did not expect to be making a game this weekend with a complete origin story for now the most endearing LEGO villain of all time, LEGO Lem. I had fun with all of you. I've learned a lot from all of you too. So thank you for joining. Thank you for being a part of this. I can't wait to see what y'all are going to create. Please send us, pics and videos of your progress. I'm rooting for all of you in the contest, and I can't wait to see what you do.
Yeah.
Thanks for having fun with us.
Yeah. And in Game Jam tradition, we're all going to say bye in each of our languages. So I'm from Canada, I'm a French Canadian. Alors, merci d'être venu. C'est au plaisir. On va se revoir bientôt. Merci. Ashley?
I am from Puerto Rico, so my language is Spanish, and I will say, gracias por unir con nosotros hoy. Te deseo mucho éxito para el LEGO, el contest, y que disfruten y que tengan un buen fin de semana. Adiós.
I don't know what you said, but you sounded so adorable saying it.
Sounded very, yeah. Okay, I'm from Denmark, just like the Lego company. So I'll say it in Danish. Det har været super fedt at sidde og lave den her Game Jam sammen med jer. Det har været rigtig sjovt at lave det her spil og kigge på Ashleys spil. Og jeg havde ikke regnet med, at jeg skulle lave det spil, der havde den længste titel nogensinde overhovedet. Så tak for det. Og jeg glæder mig så meget til at se, hvad for nogle spil I laver i LEGO Ideas-konkurrencen. Og jeg glæder mig til at sende jer nogle Unity-minifigurer. Så hygge jer. Tak.
Perfect. I agree with both of you. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.